Hey Mary, how you doing?
Good evening.
Okay, what's up, y'all? And welcome back to another D.O.C production. Tonight we're having another segment of conversations with Issa. So please share the live, share the live, share the live, y'all. Um, and please, if you haven't, again, if you haven't subscribed to the Duel of Concepts YouTube channels, please do so. You can find our previous content there. And that's everything from our debates to our builds to even some special things that I have coming up in the future. So please subscribe, 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 y'all. I appreciate everything. So tonight we'll be having a conversation about what we want out of our relationships. I have some questions for men and the women on the panel. And I just ask when I'm asking the question based on the gender, I really wish that the opposite gender will be on mute. Let the ladies or gentlemen answer the questions in full, get all of your thoughts out, and then I'm going to go to the opposite sex and then we're going to have a full conversation about it. I just want everybody to be able to get to hear everything the person has to say before they, you know, come in with the kill. With that being said, please be mindful of how long we talk. So it's an open panel, but just be mindful. Yeah. With all that being said, again, subscribe to the channel, and being that it's only two of the ladies on the throughout three of the ladies on the panel now, I would appreciate the gentlemen. I know y'all wouldn't mind if I start with the ladies. Y'all good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Hey,
It's all
please
up.
do. Please do.
Appreciate you. What's up, everybody? What's up? I still got one more spot for anybody who wants to join the panel. Um, so we're gonna start with the ladies. I'm gonna ask the fellas to go on mute. Ladies, you can unmute at any time when you feel like answering the question. It's only two of y'all. I'm pretty sure we all grown adults. Um, so question one. How do you prefer to resolve conflict, and what are your favorite approaches to the communication?
You want me to go, Ash?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, for me, I like to lead with love first. So if I have a problem, I'll think of something positive to say so that the person isn't on edge. Um, I I like to talk things out. Um, I like to deal with stuff right away, but I know that some people need a little time and space, and I prefer that I be told that, hey, uh, I need a minute, I need an hour, I need this, that, or the other to gather my thoughts, and then come back to it, and then I'll give you that space. But at 2 hours, if you say you need 2 hours, at 2 hours, I'm like, okay, yeah, yo, let's get down to it. I just think that open communication, even hard communication, is important, even if that means that I have to hear something that I don't appreciate. But I think at the end of the day, if we both speak honestly and carefully and try not to kill each other with our words, um, the relationship will be the better for it. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Try not to kill each other with our words, trying to hit below the belt is definitely part. Hey, how you doing, Hades? It's definitely part of. Thank you for the gifts. Yes, please.
Yes, yes, please.
um, It's definitely a part of learning how to fight fair in a conversation. I think it's very important to know how to fight fair. But Ashley, I'm gonna go to you. Hades, after Ashley answers, I'm gonna brief you in on what we're talking about and we're gonna move forward, okay? Go ahead, Ashley.
Um, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm toxic as fuck. I don't know what's up with Hades' background, but it's irritating a little bit.
Yeah, Hades, you gotta be hun. I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
Can you
I'll be
can you mute
trying.
her maybe?
Yeah, I'll be
Oh, okay.
trying.
Even better. I am toxic. I think I do give out a lot of like initially I'll give you that Chick-fil-A customer service, but if I find that you're just sitting in front of me like a job interview and like nodding and smiling and not really taking heed to the communication that I just tried to do, then I like have a way of pay attention. Like I pay attention to how you communicate and then I just imitate a little bit and I'll just let you lead in that level of communication. I don't know. But problem resolving, I guess, one of my favorite because I have children, um, you're gonna have to text me your problems. So I don't care if we're both on the couch or laying in bed, but we ain't gonna be doing a whole lot of yelling or anything like that or putting on a show. Because I grew up and I honestly don't remember my grandparents having an issue. Like they weren't bleaching each other's clothes and running their cars into trees and calling the police and all of that. They might have had problems, but I wasn't aware of it as a child. So I do try to have that respect for my children, um, and be more so conservative in that way. So we gonna be cussing each other the fuck out, and typing paragraphs. You gonna be laying right here. I'm not gonna fuss with you and like out loud like that though. But yeah, that's my response.
No, I do like that. I do like that because I think we do forget that writing is a form of communication as well. And sometimes you don't get to say it the way it happens in your head as opposed to when you're writing it. And if you're ever having trouble like communicating verbally, I think the next step should be to write it out. I think that's a great idea personally. Um, Purple, did you want to say anything else about the writing part before I open it up to the fellas?
Um, I I am a journaler. So sometimes if something is really bothering me, I'll open up my notes and I'll write a text message that I don't send. I write the points that I want to cover. But I have bad eyesight, so I don't do a whole lot of texting because I might accidentally cuss you out because I typoed.
You silly. All right, fellas. So you can either comment on what you heard, you can answer the question and comment. Do your thing.
Want to go first, or are we going like in an order, certain order, or what are we doing?
It wasn't no order. You could go first since you're already talking, and then however, whoever feels the spirit next.
I I bet. So, um, the way that I prefer to resolve conflicts in a relationship, the first thing I would do personally, I would meditate, or I would do it. I would do everything in my power to, calm my brain, or like have my brain waves in a calm state for one, and for two, you know, I would jot down my thoughts. You feel me? I would write down my thoughts, right? And then address the issue in a calm manner. I wouldn't like even if it give me like if I get upset or get angry or something, I would actually calm myself down and take the time to address it in a manner where, what I'm saying, depending on, how can I say this? It really depends on the issue. Like if it's an issue where I need to hear her side, I would listen to more so to understand than to respond. So like it wouldn't be like a back and forth or cut her off. Like if she's addressing me about issues that I'm creating or something, I would actually like listen. even if I got to jot some stuff down, I write it down in a calm state. Um, and what was the second part of the You said, how do you prefer to resolve conflicts and what else?
Yeah, how do you prefer to resolve conflict, and what's your main mode of communication? But you answer both of them in your answer.
Because I forgot the second part, but yeah, more so solution based. But the ultimate goal is listening to understand one another and communicate with one another and being willing to take accountability for one's actions and vice versa. So that's just sum it all up. I'll land my plane on that one.
And I'll pick up where you left off. So to piggyback on what everybody said, with dealing with conflict resolution, I like to suggest that it's pretty much like Hero said, it's situationally dependent. Not that there's any good time to be yelling or fussing or with your partner, but I do recognize that different people resolve
What
problems
up,
differently.
peoples?
I've been in relationships where that people like to deal with issues head on immediately and don't let things dwell or linger. And I've been in situations where people like to kind of take some time, and so I could be aware of the needs of my partner. What I can't do though is be inconsistent with that. Whatever methodology we come up with, if it's take some time, cool off, get our thoughts together, let's do that, and let's let that be our system. Let's not kind of interchangeably have it, your cake and eat it too. Sometimes, no, we got to deal with this right now, but sometimes, no, I need some time. You know what I'm saying? Let's come up with a system, let's implement it, and let's stick to it so that we can hold each other accountable and measurable to it. Um, I will say this when dealing with conflicts, just like when talking on panels here, oftentimes there's a temptation to listen to respond. So somebody might say something that kind of triggers a response while that person's still talking. I've actually implemented a system personally. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That when I'm dealing with hearing somebody's grievance or issue, I'll literally and visibly hold my lips while they speak. So that way they can be sure to be heard to completion. I hope they don't feel like I'm patronizing them, but just making sure that I heard them to completion, that I thought about what they said, and that I respond hopefully without anger and with all serious and intent to be solution oriented. That's my preference. And when all else fails, therapy.
All right, box two, box three. Do y'all have anything I want to add, or you want to go straight to the men's question?
Go ahead, Halak. You can go before me up.
Oh, Khan, I would say to handle conflict with me in an argument situation, I would say first of all, like we shouldn't be arguing in front of the children. We shouldn't be expressing, our emotions towards each other in front of the children. They should never see that in a bad way. So, regardless of how I feel at that moment, I wouldn't, engage in an argument in front of the children. As a husband and a father, I would want to like remove my wife. Let's go outside. Let's go sit in the car. You know what I'm saying? And at that point of time, however you feeling, express that. Just don't disrespect me. You know what I'm saying? Like, get that shit the fuck out. Just don't put your hands on me. You ain't gotta put your hands in my face. You ain't gotta call me out my name or whatever the case may be, as well as vice versa. I ain't gotta do the same shit. You know what I mean? And let's just stick to whatever we're having a disagreement on. Whatever the disagreement on, we stick to that and we come up with a solution with that. You know what I'm saying? And That's it. We don't need to bring in extra stuff that don't have nothing to do with the initial argument. I land with that.
Um, hey, sup, Chris? Hopefully, I could
All right, so
piggyback on that. Or,
go ahead, Vita. If you about to go, brother, you go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, my brother. Just to
Nah, it's
piggyback on
good,
that.
brother. Sure.
There's like I totally agree with everything, but it's these emotionally driven decisions and actions that lead me and end up in predicaments that I'm like, maybe I should have just used a sound mind, knowing that there's a time and place. If you can see that they're emotionally driven, well, I mean, maybe we'll address this later when you can actually calm down, be of sound mind, so we can address this and figure out what's going to be practical for both of us moving forward. And we can't do that when we're emotionally driven by, I know, man, this thing called truth. Don't care about my feelings, man. And there's some truths that really hurt, but I'm gonna have to accept it and not let my feelings override that truth that I'm riding off into the sunset in a fantasy, but not reality.
All right, so sis, I know I was last. Let me make sure I can reiterate what you were saying. You said the how to deal with the problem, or could you restate the question again, please?
Oh,
How do you prefer to resolve conflict and what is your approach to communication?
Okay, all right, thank you. So I think first we got to acknowledge that there's a problem. That's the first thing. You know what I'm saying? And then when you acknowledge the problem, now you know where to go from there. I think everybody kind of attack like great points. You know what I'm saying? Because like some people may not be strong with words, so you might have to write it down. Somebody might be too pissed off to even talk at that point in time. So maybe we need to just take a deep breath, take a walk away from each other, and then come back and talk about it. But the first problem, I mean, I feel think the first thing is establishing what the problem is and working on that. So I don't know. I think all the tactics that's been said is pretty good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, like my brother said a lot, you know what I'm saying? Don't say it in front of the kids. We don't want to know, let the kids know that we're fighting or we're mad at each other. But if we can come together and figure this problem out, then now we can get the solution. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is the main goal is figuring the problem out. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of, it depends really, like, you know what I'm saying? It's situational because sometimes words might be too harsh at that point in time. So, I kind of agree with mainly everybody on that. I'll land with that.
Yeah, I think everybody came up with some great ideas. Everybody was just really piggybacking off of each other. Um, so this question is going to be for the men. We're going to go in order by the numbers. Um, with that being said, there's way more men on the panel than there's way more people on the panel now. So please be aware of how long we're talking. Okay. Uh, so sorry. What makes you feel valued in your relationship? And under what circumstances does it take for you to feel safe enough to be vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable?
That's a beautiful question. Um, what makes me feel valued is I'll say because like it's beyond the physical and material with me in regards to value. So I would say reciprocity and basically value. I don't know. That's a good question. Nobody ever asked me that before. I would say value my mind, my mind, my time, my energy. Or damn, that was a good ass question. My apologies.
If you want, I can skip and we could come back to you if you want to sit and think on it for another second.
I gotta hear the question one more time. I'm gonna take notes. My apologies. That was a powerful question. I need some time for that one.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna go to box two and we're gonna wrap around to you, okay?
Hey, I'm
So
laughing there,
for
bro.
you.
Hey, that was a good question, sis. That really was a great question. But if I could, so the part that makes me feel valued as a man in a relationship is if I'm the leader of the household, you understand? Don't emasculate me. You know what I mean? Like if I'm wrong, I can be wrong. That's no problem. But it's the tone that you come at me with when it comes to me being wrong. Not no nigga, you wrong. You should have said that. It's like, babe. I mean, come on, babe. You know, it's all about the tone. One. Then it's like, if I am the head of the household, you understand? Honor that. Let me lead. You understand? Now, again, behind every strong man is a strong woman. Salaki, excuse me. Beside every strong man is a strong woman. So I feel like I said, if we're working at this as a team, you understand, I'm going to feel value because I can tell you, nah, babe, don't do that. And because you know and you trust in my judgment, you're going to listen to me. You're going to follow me. So I think that's what the value comes in. I forgot the other part. I'm gonna have to start writing these questions down, sis Salaki. What was the last part of that? And I'm not gonna be long winded.
No problem. I got you. And what's up, Spider? And the second part of the question was, what does it take for you to feel safe enough to be emotionally vulnerable in a relationship?
Boy, that was tough. So to be honest, it's like I think it comes with time to be emotional, because some brothers may pour into a sister and tell them their deepest, darkest secret. Soon as a brother, they get in an argument, like Kevin Hart said, that's why you a piss of the bed, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that comes with time and just kind of like seeing that this sister's not like manipulative or what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just say manipulative or try to, use what you live against you. I think that's something, and I'll land there. So like,
No, I heard you. Basically, just knowing that whatever you say is going to be held sacred, especially sacred not, enough to not be thrown in your face in the middle of an argument. I get that.
there you go.
Um, yeah. Box three. Do you need me to repeat or are you good?
No, I'm good. Hey, shalom to
Okay.
everybody on the panel. I would say that to the response to the first question is um, as a matter of fact, can you repeat it? Because somebody just started walking by me and I had just lost whole train of thought. I had
Hey,
everything
real
going.
quick, host,
I'm
if I
sorry.
could, I'm gonna start typing it in the comment if that's okay with you, so that way we can kind of reverence that and move. If that's all right with you, sis,
No, that's cool. Thank you. You're actually helping me out with that. I
No
appreciate
sweat. I
you.
got absolutely.
So the first part is what makes you feel valued in your relationship, and under what circumstances
Okay,
do
the
you
first.
feel? Okay, let's just do that part first. What makes you feel valued in your relationship?
Okay, so what makes me feel valued in my relationship is piggyback off of what my brother, Officer Kudam, said, and then also just feeling appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Like not just you know uh me doing what I'm doing as a man, you know what I'm saying, and not feeling appreciated like majority of our sisters out here are single mothers. So if I get into another relationship, I'm most likely gonna end up with a woman that has children. You know what I'm saying? So I would want her to appreciate me a lot more than expecting me to, take care of children that are not mine. You know what I mean? You know, the time and the effort and all of that going into that. Not only with that, because I can get a woman that doesn't have any children, but just the things that a man is supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? As a husband or a father, to just be for a woman to be appreciative of those things, and then what will make me feel wow, yeah, like I don't even know what that, cause like a lot of times like men go through shit too, men experience things with women, his mothers. Some men get raped, all type of things, but they can't go and talk about those things to nobody. You know what I mean? If they did try to open up and say anything, it's like, oh, you butt hurt, nigga, get over it, man, the fuck up, da 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 da. We get that from women, and we'll get that from men. You know what I'm saying as well. So that right there, the only thing I can say, like, it's probably at a vulnerable state where I will probably show my emotion. Is probably when I'm sick or either experiencing some type of death in the family. I'll land with that.
Yeah, so the second part when you said about being vulnerable, so basically it's more of an issue of finding people to be vulnerable with and feeling safe within that space. Okay. So we're gonna go to Rep, then Vita, and then we're gonna come back to Hiru, and then we're gonna open it up for the ladies. Go ahead, Rep.
Yeah, I was going to start it out from the vulnerability part. Nothing makes you feel more uncomfortable expressing yourself than when you identify that your partner is backbiting you. You know, talking about something that you did to somebody else, especially if it's somebody in the family. You know what I'm saying? Giving out information and perspective so that other people could, you know, have an opinion with regarding your relationship. I mean, somebody does that to me, and it's like, you've given me no safe place to land. So why would I feel comfortable, or being vulnerable around you? You've made it almost impossible for me to do that. Um, Regarding value, um, I try not to put all my value. I find my value in the things that I do personally, so that I don't have to rely on anybody. But there's nothing that makes you feel valued like when your significant other expresses how much they appreciate you to you and to others. You know what I'm saying? Like I try my best to be handy, fix things. There's nothing worse than when something that you do is not just a one off, it becomes just an expectation. So I don't have to appreciate that because that's just what he does. When you see that gleam in your partner's eye when they be like, yeah, my man does that for me, like he did that, that's an extra, candle on the cake. You know what I'm saying? It just makes you feel appreciated that your partner is representing you thoroughly in the eyes of others as they look upon your relationship. Might sound a little cheesy, but it is what it is.
Vita, we on you, and then we're going to Haru.
Um, oh yeah, cool. I'm totally with all of what's been said. But for me, to know that I'm valued is to be um considered when making decisions, whether it may be what's for dinner tonight. And also, what makes me know that I'm really valued is that when I fall and when I'm in the trenches, you can come and sit there in the trenches with me and still see value with me when I may not. That's gonna really, 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 really make me personally feel a heck of a lot valued because it's easier to be there for somebody when they're at the mountaintop. But I mean, to see and sit with their brother or whatnot in the valley, um, yeah, that shows that like for being real value makes me feel extra valued. And when it comes to this vulnerability thing, yeah, I mean, like the world's idea of vulnerability is to be like a scarce little stray cat sort of buzz, where humility and being humble enough to reveal whatever I feel impressed to reveal, in a place of vulnerability, to be later thrown up when we're emotionally going through a conflict just to kind of push a button that really, really makes it hard for me to, yeah, I mean, kind of let all of their vulnerability out because, okay, I did not share that with you in vulnerability for you to just pull out and use as your keys on the piano when you're emotional. That is not going to help me feel extra vulnerable around anybody anymore. Because I think one of the brothers was saying that we're expected as men from women and men to buck up your ideas, bro. Why are you, you know? it's this thing called reality, and it's not all rainbows and unicorns if you live in reality like I do. And so, yeah, men go through these things too. And yeah, that's all.
And last but not least, we're going to go to Haru and then we're going to open it up to the ladies.
All right. Now I kind of see exactly why I kind of stumbled on that answer, because like my subconscious or something in me kind of was like, let me reminded me of something, and that is when it comes to feeling valued in a relationship. The thing is with me is that that's the value is a price placed amongst oneself. You feel me? So when it comes to value, right? Like I'm gonna feel value regardless. You feel me? But I will be conscious of, like I mentioned, reciprocity in a relationship. So, um, that being said, my answer to that is, value in a relationship is placed amongst myself, and I'm not necessarily dependent on, or I'm not relying on feeling value. I have to think about that for a second, because that's where the reciprocity come into play, to where I can sense when I'm not being valued. But um, the value is kind of like it's more so within oneself and vice versa. I would expect for my, you know, woman to have that, or I would seek a woman with that mindset as well. Like, you know what I mean? So, and also dealing with vulnerability, um, or for me to be vulnerable, um, like, her being her spiritually cultivating oneself. You know what I'm saying? Functioning in her higher self, in her divine feminine, authenticity, and then I heard somebody else mention this, in humility, and in a multitude of things when it comes to being vulnerable. But yeah, those are some key factors. Not all. I can't, but those are some key factors when it comes to being able to be vulnerable with one's partner. You feel me? But yeah, that's my answer though.
No, great answer, great answer. Um, and without further ado, I'm going to open it up to the ladies. Any of the ladies want to start first? Just come off of mute. If you need me to repeat, I'm down with that as well. Purple, Bow, Swan, Ashley, and
I
Velasquez.
was I was gonna let somebody else go first.
Okay, so the question is, what makes you feel valued? Well, first thing is the listening part, and when I say listening, I'm not even talking about like uh just the hearing. I'm just saying like you hear my point. If you don't hear it, you're trying to get there, and we're not doing the back and forth because you're not interested in really uh salvaging, keeping a relationship or building one if this is going to go off center into topic to topic to topic when we get into a dispute and argument. If you're interested in me and if I have any value, you're going to try to get to the bottom of it and not in a way that is going to make us not be together and someone has to sacrifice. That's not feeling value. Feeling value to me is, hey, we got to get this together. That's feeling value. You're going through all lengths to listen. We got to make an appointment to talk. We both work this, that, and for something that I'm like, hey, he really wants to talk about it. I told him this, that, and the other, and he's like, hey, we got to talk about it. He's calling me. I'm not calling him. Hey, you said we were going to talk. We supposed to talk last Thursday. No, he's calling me. Hey, what time you be home? Or if we don't live together, hey, when we going to link up to talk about whatever it was you wanted to talk about? Those kind of things make me feel valued. Then when it comes to my health, holistic, I feel valued. You're getting me real food and things like that. You're not taking me to the Taco Bells. No, I have to take her to get real fresh food and things of that. I feel valued. I feel valued. You coming over my house with fresh herbs and fruits and this, that, and organic shit and all of that. I feel good about that. You're concerned about my well being. That makes me feel valued. Responsibility makes me feel valued. being on time to the best of your ability makes me feel valued. That makes me feel really valued. You trying to break your neck to get here. You're calling me. You're out of breath. I'm like, hey, it's no big. It's cool. It's cool. That's cool. No. I told you I'd be there at 7:30, and I wanted to be there because I don't know. You could have been doing something. That makes me feel like consideration. I can go on and on and on and on, and then the vulnerability part that has to come naturally. That has to really come naturally. I have to feel safe as fuck with you. That has to come through experience. That has to come through energy. That has to come through our communications. How does he talk to me? Is he keeping me out of everything? And then I'm coming to him with every damn tear that I got? Is he opening up to me? No, because a lot of times things are one sided. One person is they're spilling their whole guts out about life to the other person. Does he share things with me? Does he use things against me? Like, you got to watch stuff. You tell him your deepest, darkest secret or hurt. You get into an argument. Yeah, that's why. That's why the last time the guy told you to this, that, and you're like, damn, you really brought that up. I don't feel valued. I can't be vulnerable with you at all. So, great communication is a big, big deal to me. And when a person is concerned about my well-being and shows it, that's a big deal. And I'm gonna just stop there because I can keep going.
No, I
And I
like
say that
that.
communication piece because people don't be talking. Some people don't value you. Listen, a problem will come up that they have with you. They ain't talking to you about it. They might just walk around with attitude or go ahead and solve their problem on their own. That's not. I don't feel valued there.
Right. No, I do love your answer, Swan. Like, I really did love it. Um, uh, Purple, if you wanted to go, and then we're going to go to Anne, or are you still waiting, hun?
I can go. I think valued and vulnerable for me are kind of hand in hand. I feel valued when we talked about love languages, and my love language is active service. So, you know, appreciating, little things that I do, recognizing that it was coming from my heart, um, hearing me and seeing me, which is different than listening to me and looking at me. Sitting down, having a conversation, and whatever it is that I talked about or brought up is understood. Um, then I feel heard. Um, when you show appreciation, I feel seen. And over time, that allows for trust to be built up enough so that I feel safe enough to be vulnerable and tell you anything without having to worry about judgment and repercussions and toxicity. Um, at the end of the day, for me, creating a safe space just to um, not have to be on guard, not have to be feeling like I have to take care of everything or run everything. You know, if he says, I've got this, and I can trust that he has it, then I can be vulnerable. Then I can let my hair down. I can let my guard down, and I can just open up and let him lead. Um, I also think that part of that is him being vulnerable with me, him trusting me enough to open up and let his guard down. Then I know, okay, well, he's being vulnerable with me. I can be vulnerable with him. We can trust each other in that regard. Um, I think, oh, and I have your back. If he says he has my back, and I know that without a doubt, even if I'm like wrong, and he's got my back, and then later on it's like, yo, you were out of pocket for that. You know, I still appreciate him having my back, even though I might not have been 100% correct in that. I think that's it for me.
No, that was a great answer as well. Like I love the answers we're getting today. And we're going to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. So, for the first part, how I feel valued, I would say communication. You have to communicate. My man has to communicate with me. Yes, you're the head of the family. Yes, your decisions count. You should make these decisions. But, communicate to me what you want to do. And, let me put in my own input. Let me reason with you. That way I feel okay, valued in the relationship. Then attention, you gotta give me attention. You should, if you're not giving me attention, somebody else or something else is taking your attention. Like they said, people make things, they make time for things that are valuable to them. So you're supposed to give me attention. That's for the first question. For the second one, vulnerability. I think time is gonna make. I think with time doesn't make me maybe comfortable with you or so. I might have observed you or something for me to be vulnerable with you. Then you have to be intelligent, a problem solver. I should be able to bring problems to you, or oh, I'm passing through this. Oh, this is what is happening. What do you think? And then you bring a constructive answer, and then I'm okay. I feel safe to always come back to you because I know I won't just be ranting. You're gonna provide a solution. So yeah, that's my own part. But also, I agree with the part that you also have to. I shouldn't be the only one telling you everything about me, like emptying my life to you. You should also be telling me certain things. Also, we should be vulnerable with each other. That way, it's okay. That's my own point.
No, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And I do agree that communication is big when it comes to that, with opening up doors to becoming vulnerable. A lot what Swan said, a lot what Purple said. Just the little every little bit that you give, you gotta get something in return in order to feel safe to go to the next step. Yeah. Who do we have now? Balbo. I don't know if you are in class and just listening.
No, I just went for
Ashley.
me.
Yeah, either or. She can go first if she wants.
So, for me, I would say a few things. So say the question again because I want to make sure. I think it was like two parts, if I remember correctly. I know part of it is how do you feel valued? But what's the second part?
Yeah, valued in your relationship, and what do you need to feel? What do you need in place to feel vulnerable with the other person?
Oh, okay. So, as far as feeling valued, consistency, right? Because if you're consistent, it shows a care for the fact that when you're inconsistent, then that breeds mistrust, right? When you're inconsistent, I cannot rely on you. I don't know where you're going. I don't know what you're likely to do, what you intend to do. I also cannot partner with you well because I don't know when the need will exist. I don't know when you can be there for me. I don't know what we're doing, what our plans are, and you can't build off of that. You can't progress. You can't create a foundation without that kind of consistency, right? And in absence of the ability to be consistent for whatever reason, because that happens too, right? Because people have their own lives, they have their own responsibilities to their own families, their friend base, their job, all those kinds of things, right? And things come up. Everything's not the same schedule every day. But in the absence of that, I want you to know that if you had a rhythm going with me and then you just stop having that rhythm, then there's a void that gets created, right? And it has nothing to do with like being codependent on it, but it's just that it it's also part of the love, that dynamic of having that partnership, right? So then if you just abruptly you're not being able to do that, but then you don't communicate, right? So I need consistency and communication, right? Especially in the absence of being able to be consistent. Let me know, hey babe, that thing that we normally do, can't do it now. This is what's going on, but we're going to tap back in, right? And that all of that is consideration, right? You're taking me into consideration um, in the way that you're doing unto me, the way that you would want done to you, because I'm pretty sure all those things that I just listed is the same thing that a man would expect for himself for all the same reasons, right? I feel like also attention to detail. And it doesn't have to be huge things. It doesn't have to be grand gestures, right? But if you are partnering with me and you're having an understanding of who I am, then you're paying attention, and you're also, the things that you do are going to have me in consideration if you're trying to communicate to me that you're with me, right? um, and not taking it upon yourself to just do things willy nilly, things that I might not even like, right? Like I was in a relationship and that was one of the issues, right? Like you literally brought me 3 times to the restaurant that I told you I didn't like. What are we doing here? So yeah, it's just like paying attention and having an understanding of who your partner is, what they're about, what they like, what they don't like. Um, and as far as the second part was, say that again. The second part, I got caught up in all the being valued
Um,
of it all.
what would it take for you to feel safe enough to be vulnerable?
Safe enough to be vulnerable, I think, is rooted in a lot of those things that I listed, especially the consistency and the communication part about it, right? Because if I know that you're capable of having, because a lot of that takes emotional intelligence, right? Being able to be aware enough to know when you're being consistent and when you're not being consistent, right? Aware enough to have an understanding of what proper communication is, how where the need for communication exists and how to do that, right? And but also recognizing, oh, okay, if that was me, I would want this person to work with me like this. So I'm going to mirror that and I'm going to do the same for them. That's all emotional intelligence, right? So if those things are in place, then I know I could trust you. And then if I can trust you, then I can communicate anything to you. I want to be able to communicate anything to you, right? And not just being able, but know that when I do, whatever it is, that there's an understanding that we can work through whatever it is, that we're both human. We both are not flawless. We both are not perfect, right? And we should be growing together at all times. Um, and if that is a understanding that we have, then why wouldn't I be able to be vulnerable? I land my plane.
Okay, the value thing. I agree with Bubble. I'm gonna keep it short. Consistency, emotional intelligence. Um, Give me your location. You gotta be on my body. Like you gotta know. Like I was looking good for 3 weeks out the month, and I look homeless that last week. So it's period week. Pay attention to detail type shit. And I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna be able to sense when you having a bad day at work, and sit down and shut the fuck up as well. You know what I mean? We'll be able to reciprocate that. So yeah, value this consistency, be on my body, drop the low. Need to know where you're at. Then I ain't got to question the communication or if you're inconsistent. Cause yeah, you came home 20 minutes later than what you usually, but I see where you at, so I can go ahead and take my ass to sleep. You alright? So I don't gotta stress myself out, and we ain't gotta sit there and over communicate on some stupid ass shit. But you can kind of like secure the position where there's no insecurities, if that makes any sense. And feeling valued, yeah, same stuff. Like I need the security codes. Cause yeah, even if Shorty sucked your dick, you feel me? She don't got access to your bank account. So I might be able to turn the other cheek. You know what I'm saying? Like we could talk about it and make sure, you know what I'm saying, next time, you know what I mean, you give me a heads up and I need to know that you're protecting yourself and stuff like that because we don't need monkeypox in our household. Not saying you should be cheating, but I'm just saying like you gotta solidify your foundation. So therefore it's nothing that's gonna infiltrate that. You know what I mean? You can't crack that foundation, that concrete. And like I said, I'm gonna reciprocate everything I'm saying for my dude. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna keep it cute. Next question, please.
No, I really did like you and Balboa's answer because I wasn't even thinking about consistency. And yes, consistency is so damn important. And if you're consistent long enough, little slip ups of coming home late 20 minutes, like Ashley says, I'm not going crazy. But if you coming late becomes consistent rather than you showing up, that becomes an issue.
No, but
And
that's
that's
why
what
you get his location and then you just go to where he at and make sure, you feel me? And yeah, play with something safer. So I got the location. He could be 30 minutes late or an hour. That's you know what I mean? He could be 2 hours late because I could
not
see he at the bar and I forgot the Ravens game was on tonight. So yeah, he stopped past the ball before he came home because you feel me? I can go to bed. So yeah, I need that location. Then we ain't gotta do too much. I'm sorry. Go ahead, it's a queen.
I know that's right. Well, with that being said, we're about to go to the ladies for our questions anyway. And this is going to be a interesting question. So for the ladies, and I have a follow-up question for the men. So please pay attention, brothers. Um, how much do you consider ambition and career when choosing a partner? That's a question for the ladies. Go with the
I can
spirit.
go first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm 41. I mean, he has to be doing something, but do I have a cap on what that something is? No, because at this point, I'm supporting myself. So it's like you should have been supporting yourself all this time. I'm not coming in no guy's life, you know, bullying him about his life journey at this point. I just gotta like you, you know what I mean? And like I said, you have to be doing something. You were eating every day. You were being able to put, gas in your car. You were, you know what I'm saying? Like you were affording your essential living things and maybe a little bit extra. But I'm not into the rhetoric that they got of these 250,000, 100, and nah, like that's it's just too much when we've been forced to be adults individually already so far. So in the younger era, like yeah, I do think you should, you know what I'm saying, be maybe asking those questions if you're planning on really building something with somebody. But at this point, we should already be built at my age group. So I can't speak for everybody else, but I'll land there.
No, I agree. I think that it definitely is one of those age bracket questions, depending on what age bracket you fall in, how you feel about how much money or what you value in their career does hold account. But we could go to somebody else. Go with the spirit. Who's next? Go ahead, Balboa.
So, I'm from Manhattan, and I don't know if y'all know, but they call it money making Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're from Harlem. But that being said, um, I grew up around a lot of men, in different walks of life, different brackets, but definitely amongst them were hustlers, different types of hustlers of all kind. And I'm not only referencing illegal, but there's definitely some illegal activity up in there, right? But let's say if we were even just talking about hustlers that are not doing illegal, like they got their own flow, they selling these things, they out here, they promoting, they're creating, they're building, they're partnering, they're in the music industry, they're artists, they're all those things, right? So I don't really have a specific type when it comes to that because I've seen a lot of men get it out the mud in a lot of different ways, and I respect grind. Um, However, I do feel like because of the way that I'm built, there has been problems when a man doesn't come with a certain type of mentality or mindset in relation to the grind hasn't been exposed to certain types of experiences, because then they don't understand how I move. They don't understand and I'm not saying you have to do the same thing that I do or move the way that I do. I feel like I'm a unique personality in the types of things that I get involved in across a lot of different spaces, right? Like I'm in politics, I'm also in technology, and I'm dabbling and getting into real estate, and I'm always studying. I like to learn. I'm always taking a class, right? So I feel like sometimes men that haven't had equitable experiences, it don't have to be the same type, but if their grind doesn't consist of a wide variety of things, they just sometimes don't get it. And then sometimes that becomes the overarching. Hold on, because I was waiting to hit record on this thing when they came back. Okay, good. So now, sometimes that ends up becoming a dynamic of control because they don't understand, and then they'll try to start implementing rules, and then it's like a lot of questions, right? And I'm not doing anything, I'm just moving how I move. And if you respect a certain level of grind, you understand that maybe today I'm going to go do this thing that doesn't fit into a standard 9 to 5 bracket, and I can't always constantly be available to you, and you have to be able to be strong minded enough to be okay with yourself, because you got your own things going, to understand that when we get together it is going to be bomb, but right now I'm busy. You know what I'm saying? And I understand sometimes you will be busy, but when we come together we miss each other so much that it's amazing. And you also are making up the time for the fact that that's the way the relationship works, so that the plans are to make it great when we can come together. That takes a special type of dude and a special type of grind. I land my plane.
No, that was beautifully said. Does anybody else want to contribute? Yeah.
All right. Please, can you go ahead and tell me, repeat the question so that I get it correctly?
Okay. How much do you consider ambition and career when choosing a partner?
Well, the more the better. But I would just prefer knowing that you have a consistent source of income and a backup plan, because with money you cannot really get satisfied. You can't say, oh, okay, I need $20,000. No, when you get $20,000 you want more. So I won't put a cap on that. I'll put it like, just have something consistent, something that we show of, oh, okay, if this is not working, if you are a career person and maybe one day you lose your job, you have plan B. You have something else to follow. You don't just stay homeless, eating up the couch or something. That's mine.
Yeah, no, I agree. Plan Bs are important. Go ahead, Purple. It's on you.
Because of my age bracket, um, you need to have a career, not just a job. That makes sense. You need to be able to take care of yourself and your responsibilities. Um, things happen. People lose their jobs. You all know what I'm talking about. Um, but have a plan B, and because you have a career versus a job, you should be. Hopefully, you'll find something consistent with what you've been doing. So you can get back on your feet. I do understand that some people take the opportunity of a job loss to redefine themselves and try something different. And I'm okay with that as long as you have a plan in place to do that. That plan may be going to school or doing an apprenticeship or something like that. But there needs to be a plan, and I need for you to have a career. As far as ambition goes, eh, that I really don't look at that. I mean, like career ambition, some people are just really good foot soldiers, and some people are really good generals. If your lane is foot soldier and you do that well, then by all means, I don't need you to try to become the general. Um, in terms of ambition in life, I think that kind of goes hand in hand. I do want you to have ambition in terms of being a go-getter, whatever that get needs going, or whatever that go needs getting. Um, that might be finding another job, or, making sure that your housing is secure, or, anything other than just sitting down and letting the world happen to you. I want you to happen to the world. Don't just sit there and just take all the hits that the world is going to give you as a black man. You know, find the fortitude to hit back or get up if you've been knocked down. Um, that's it for me.
Yeah, I like that. Don't let you happen to the world. Don't let the world happen to you. I really like that. Does anybody else want to share? Any ladies want to share? Swan, I didn't hear from you. Blossom, I didn't hear from you. If not, I'm going to open up the panel for the fellas.
Oh, I'm sorry, please. I slept off because of the pills I took last night. I'm not feeling fine. But I want to take us back to the second question. I'm sorry. What you said, what makes it to be valuable in your relationship? One is communication. When my partner communicates with me, it means that I'm valuable to him. Yeah, you will be the head of the family. You will be the head to take decisions, but you share whatever you want to do with me. If I had it somewhere else that you do something without my own concept or my own knowledge, I will not be happy with that. That means you did not value me to you don't have anything to do with me, you don't value me, you don't count me in what we are doing. As a partner, we have to communicate together, share our dreams together. Whatever be the decision you want to make, you share with me and hear my own contribution if you will take it or not. But doing it outside me, meaning that you do not value me. Then secondly, what make me to be safe in your hand? For my own part, in my relationship, if my partner starts cheating on me, I am not safe in your hand. 100% I am not safe because you are exposing me to danger, to your so-called side chick or whatever. They may not like to see me. Over here in Nigeria, I want to give you an instance. When a man got married and started cheating on her wife, on his wife either, he is exposing that woman to danger that would took his life earlier. And he have killed so many ladies here in Nigeria. Yes, because if you are cheating on me, I am not safe, not at all. I am not safe in your hand. No matter how you will paint it, no matter how you would paint it, I am nothing to you because you expose me to danger. And if I am cheating on my husband or my partner, he is not safe in me because my so-called sugar daddy and whatever they call themselves may think to take away the life of this young man from me for him to come and take position. Or the side chick of him may be planning to take away my life for her to come and take the place. So for me to be safe in your hand, you will be faithful to the earth, to the dam. You'll be faithful to me, likewise me to be faithful to you also. When we are faithful to each other, we are safe. And I used to hear that, as people said, love covered multitude of sin. Love. When there is love, no matter how the conflict or whatever, the love covers it. When there is love, not lust, love, I mean love, 4-letter word. Some people play with that word, but it's so strong. It's a strong word. When you love a man or a woman, you cannot play with that person. You can't play with his or her own life. You make sure you protect him or her to the last. But when there is no love, just fake, you are faking it, using your mouth to say it, but it's not from your heart. You can play with the person's life. This life we are living is just once. You have to maximize it. I lay my plane. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Swan, did you want to respond as well?
No, I'm good. I'm gonna pass right now.
All right. So we're going to open it up to the fellas. Any of the fellas, let the spirit take over you. Whoever wants to go first. What's up, everybody coming into the panel? Thank you for coming by, stopping by. Haru, any one of the brothers, the ladies done said a whole lot when
Yeah,
it
I
comes
heard.
to this money.
I think they ready to fuss with us a little bit, so we gotta
Sorry, sorry,
we
sorry,
gotta wake them
sorry,
up.
sorry.
They want to go back and
Right?
forth.
Nah, I'm chilling. But nah, dealing with ambition and
Hello?
career and a partner. What was that? I don't know who that is.
I'm not sure who's speaking. Who's speaking right now? I just need to know so I can mute up.
Number one.
No, box 10.
Con,
I
con,
got you right after box 1.
I'll be
con,
real quick
con.
too. Be quick. Um, how much do you consider ambition in career when choosing a partner? Um, you know, ambition, that's dealing with, hard work. I think it's important to be self-sufficient, whether it's, or having a career, whatever, you feel me? But my main thing is, as long as that career aligns with her soul or life purpose, and also when it comes to ambition, how people work hard at their job. I feel like, I'm pretty sure people have like that. I would hope to have the goal to be their own boss or work for themselves one day. So like that ambition, I would look for my partner to put a good majority of that in her dreams or her goals that she trying to set. You know what I mean? On a self sufficient entrepreneur, boss type level. You feel me? And yeah, basically more so solving her own problems than like a CEO or a person that's way at the top that don't even know or don't even care to know that she exists. So yeah, that I guess that sums it all up. But that was some cool answers, beautiful answers, everybody. I was listening. I was taking notes. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Box 10 is on you.
Uh, uh, First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, through His Son, Yahweh Shai, Kwame Yasharala. Um, Ambition is important, but for me, I'm more so morally inclined to make sure that the person that I'm choosing to be my wife follows the same type of moral structures that I follow. As the Bible says, two people can't walk together unless they agree. So, in this agreement, it has to be strictly towards what the word says, because generally that's what I follow. But if it's like in general, from what other people may follow, other people may do, what they consider right or wrong, it has to be equally shared amongst one another. So the ambitions towards like a job or having certain things I may not totally agree with. Um, I'm currently married, and my wife does not work. I work. Um, I wouldn't mind if she worked, but I know the sole responsibility of what a man should do and what a woman should do. So I just kind of stay around those guidelines and not get too worldly with what other things other people may consider what a wife or a man, what a woman should do outside of the Bible. I'll land my plane there.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Box two, box three, do y'all want to add anything as well?
I'll go ahead. So when it comes to that, with ambition and career, with choosing my rib or ribs, excuse me. I think just having a career is one. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you got that, I don't want to just sit here and, you know what I'm saying, and not do anything. I think that's the important part. You know what I'm saying? The ambition, I think that's kind of going to come from her feeding off my ambition. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some sisters, they see a brother want to go out there and get it and make her want to go out there and get it too. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think when it comes to that, you know what I'm saying? One, it's more so just having a career. Like, I don't think I'm not picky. Like, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, you feel me? Like, if you got a career, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Because, back in the day, the pops, you know what I'm saying? He did everything. But nowadays, it's rough out here. You feel what I'm saying? So we got to work together as a team. You know what I'm saying? Even if you just at the crib, you know what I'm saying, helping with accounting, you know what I'm saying, getting the money together, and I'm out here handling business, what I got to do, you know what I'm saying, or if we build a business together, you know what I'm saying, I think the main thing is togetherness, you know what I'm saying, so like I said, that drive, I need a sister that's not going to be sitting on her behind, not wanting to do nothing, like, if I'm like, babe, go do something for me that's going to help generate some money, be willing to do that, you know what I'm saying, so I think that what we are talking about definitely starts with the courting stage and figuring that person out and seeing, what they are about before you even get into that. So, I land my plane there.
Okay, we still have box three and box six to go. Rep, uh, box three, either one of you?
Yeah, I was in and out. I kind of got tied up, so I was hearing bits and pieces.
No problem. I was asking how important, how much do you consider ambition and career when choosing a partner?
And you referring to as far as like her ambitions and career or mine?
Hers.
Well, I mean, her ambitions and career, you know, uh, is important, but I'm gonna be in the middle of mine as well. You know what I'm saying? So, if you in your business and I'm in my business, then now we ain't having really no time for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like we really gonna be having to make time for each other. In that case, you know what I'm saying? But even with that, along those lines, uh, with her business and things like that, like of course there's gonna be money being made. You know what I'm saying? And that's her money. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna be my money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just the type of dude where even if, you know, like I don't have a problem with a woman making more money than me, but even in the midst of that, like that's your money. Like I'm not even gonna be with like trying to accept any of it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like I'm not sure how you want me to answer this question because yeah, like her dreams and her goals is gonna be what she's trying to do with herself. I mean, like I'm gonna be doing my own thing. She makes her money. That's her money. I'm not really asking. So yeah, to really answer that question, like I'm trying to be respectfully as can. Like I really wouldn't care. I support her, and you know what I'm saying. I'll do what I can as a man, but I really wouldn't care because those are your dreams. Those are your goals. I have my own to worry about.
All right. And now we're going to go into the last question for the men. As always, we're going to start off with them. We're going to let the ladies go. And then afterwards, you are able to comment on anything you heard tonight, anything that you want to add that you didn't say before. Just open conversation. So with that being said, I'm going to I'm going to go to the fellas for their final question. Have you ever felt pressured inside of a relationship to provide, and how did that affect your connection? So all of y'all jump out the window at once. Y'all can go first.
Oh shoot, let's not all be quiet now, y'all. What's up, fellas?
God,
Please
I thought
remember,
I was going. I thought it was going to go
Oh
in the
look.
order, same order.
Hey, if you want to
go
go
with
ahead,
the
bro, go
spirit.
ahead.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I felt pressured about that, but again, I kind of just stay close to what the word of God say. Let God be true, and every man a liar. So the blessings that men get and women get, and everything that we get, we have to realize that it comes from the Most High, and destruction comes from Him too. So I just try to stay close to doing what He tells me to do, following the commandments, and blessings will come upon me, and putting my faith in Him. Because if I start thinking worldly and doing all these type of worldly things, um, certain aspects, certain conditions as a man dealing with trauma and all these different type of things, I wouldn't have a clear answer for. From just out of experience, I find the best blessings come in from the actions that I do that supports what I believe in, which is I believe in the Most High. So that's where I put my faith in as a man, to receive the type of blessings that I hope that I would receive. And it's not even hoping, but it's just more so doing God's commandments and Him opening up doors for me, not necessarily questioning about what I should do next in life. I land my plane there.
Anybody? Anybody want to go? I was going to answer.
Yeah.
All right. So the question was, and correct me if I'm wrong. You said, "Have you ever felt pressure financially in a relationship?" That's what you said.
Yes. Have you ever felt pressure to provide inside a relationship, and how did it affect your connection with the partner?
Oh, well, that question. Oh, the answer is no, no, that never happened. So I can't really answer that really, but I wasn't necessarily pressured um to provide in no type of because last time any financial issues I had in a relationship I was like 20 or 19 or 20. And at the time I didn't have a job at the time, and the girl and the female I was with was cool, but her female friends was and her sister was in her ear like, oh, he this that and the third and blah blah blah. Even though I was still seeking employment at the time, um it kind of like external influence kind of like got into it to where a lot of arguments was taking place, and she was a mother too, by the way. So I understood like where she was coming from, but she was kind of getting gassed up a lot. But overall, no. But that's like my only situation. But I didn't feel pressured, but I understood where I understood how things played out due to external influences and um lack of you know and she knew what she was working with at the time. She knew her brother was struggling, trying to make it, going job hunting, but yeah, I would say no, but I experienced situations where finances because it wasn't more so for me to provide, It was just the fact that I wasn't working at the time and people was in her ear. So, I had to say no, honestly, because everybody else kind of no. My answer to that is no. I haven't experienced that or felt pressure. No, just kind of got you feel me, cussed out, I guess, or call some names. Well, yeah, that's my answer.
No, that was a beautiful answer and very honest. I appreciate it. Who we going to next? Box two is on you.
All right, no sweat, no sweat. I was just making sure I did that right, sis. So cool. So when it comes to like being pressured to provide, one, I agree with box two. No, you know what I mean? Why? Because one, I grew up in a household where the dynamic was the father was the provider. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to pops that was in my life. You know what I mean? He taught me how to be a provider. So I don't think I don't know. Providing is subjective too. You know what I'm saying? Because you got some women out there that do their thing, like they doctors, they nurses, so they don't always need provided for financial beings. They might need that, that support is emotional. You know what I'm saying? So I think providing is subjective in this conversation. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, no, I don't feel pressure to provide because I feel like that is the man's priority. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to provide for my family because hell, if I don't provide, who we ain't gonna eat. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think, no, I never felt pressured to do so. And as far as the connection, I don't think no woman should. Well, how I'm gonna say this because I know we got sisters out here, so I was looking at a brother now. What you think about the woman? But now let me stop. So with that being said, I think as far as no man should lose a connection with having to provide because it's like, you shouldn't really judge this man about how he can provide. But, what I'm saying, as far as him providing, I think that's something that we as men should do. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the flip side of that, if I could real quick to land my plane after this, if it comes a time where a brother falls short, then I feel like that's the point where the woman, as a team, as a relationship, should be able to step in there and help so that man can get back on his feet. That's the whole point of us living together and doing this thing together. So like I land my plane today.
No, I like that. That was very nicely said. Oh yeah, Rep, you got a loud background. So we're gonna go to the ladies. Ladies, how do you feel about what you just heard, or if you want to answer the question? Either way, it's up to you. Go with the spirit. Who's going first?
Wait,
I
what's the
get.
question again?
I
Why is
guess.
everybody reluctant? Oh, are you gonna go, Purpose?
You can go. There was just a big pause, so I was going to jump in. But if you want, you can.
Yeah, and I actually was speaking to the pause. I was speaking to the. I actually missed part of the question.
Okay,
I heard
I
the.
can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, yeah, I've been in that situation, and
Actually,
I I got really, really resentful because we didn't have an agreement. One time we had an agreement, and one time we didn't have an agreement. We agreed that I would be a stay-at-home mom, and for the first 5 years, and I made sure that I had my ducks in a row to do that. But my ex did not, and so it ended up that I had to go back to work. And generally speaking, I don't mind working. I've been working since I was 14, but we had an agreement. Um, and, things happen, prices go up, so forth and so on. But had he listened to me and stuck with the plan that I had plotted out for us, I would have been able to stay at home. But he didn't listen to me. And so, that pressure of having to keep that, pay the mortgage and all that stuff, and me having to go to work for us to do that, I got really resentful. But it was more resentment towards him not keeping up with our agreement more than me having to work. The second time, we didn't have an agreement. He lost his job. That happens. So I buckled down, started working overtime, did everything I could to keep the household afloat. And this is where the ambition part comes in. After 6 months of unemployment, I felt like, well, you know what? I'm working my fingers to the bone. If you got to go flip burgers, you got to go flip burgers. You got to do something to bring some money into the house, because I'm doing all I can. I can't work 72 hours a day. I just can't. And I the longer he stayed off work, I guess he decided that he wasn't going to listen to me again, and he was just going to kick it at home. He just kind of gave up. And so I had the pressure of um, taking care of a dying mother and two mortgages and our daughter and all of that. And even after the chaos kind of settled down, I still had to be the sole breadwinner. And again, I would not have had a problem with that if that had been our agreement. If we had decided as a couple that he was going to be a stay-at-home dad, or make a career change, whatever was going through his head, I don't know. And I got really, really resentful and really, really angry, and it got to the point where if he breathed, I got mad. And you don't want to be in a situation where if your partner is suffocating, you're like, good, one less mouth I got to feed. You know what I mean? So, but generally speaking, in the best of circumstances, if we have an agreement, I don't mind working. I actually enjoy working. And I always do what I have to do to make sure that a roof is kept over our heads. That's it.
No, and thank you for sharing that personal story. I appreciate you. I think we were going to Swan next.
Yes, I'm next. Yeah. As really as a grown adult, I haven't felt pressure to provide, but like back in my young 20s, I felt pressure uh to provide out of immaturity, and I learned real quick within that. I learned really, really fast. So I really don't believe in that whole being pressured to take care of people or you not having. I believe, like I keep saying, I believe all the way down to teenagers of working age, working papers, you should be providing for yourself without pressuring, and you shouldn't want to be a dead weight. Somebody mentioned mentality. All of this falls under that mentality that somebody, Balboa or Purple Diva, somebody mentioned earlier. I'm done.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Have you ever felt pressure inside of a relationship to provide, and how did that affect your connection with your partner?
Oh, Swan. I definitely have felt pressure to provide in a relationship. Um, and I would say in two different relationships because, things happen. Once with my son's father and next with a man that I was with for 10 years. Um, and both went differently. In the case with my son's father, I felt pressure, first of all, because you're carrying everything. And also, my son was born at the time, still a toddler. And I felt pressure, not so much the money aspect of it. I was getting to the bag. It was sufficient to sustain, but it wasn't like it wasn't going to be sustainable for very long. It was like the longer that we would be in it is the more that it was going to have impact. And it felt like that was lost on him to an extent. And it did start to feel like he was just like starting to like put his hand out, but not really having the same energy for being diligent about getting out there, but also just taking whatever he could. Part of the problem is he was very achieved when I met him. Third year in college, started his own business, was making a whole shitload of money. And circumstances led to where that wasn't the case anymore. And so he was not working. And so because of that mindset, then he's not willing to take like a retail job or whatever it is. And I'm not saying it had to be a retail job. It could have been whatever he wanted, but like go get it, whatever that is, right? And I feel like that also started to weigh on him and his mindset of like, so you went from here to here and now you have to put your hand out to your woman. But he wasn't resistant in putting his hand out. He was just resentful that he had to. And that started to create conflict in the relationship, disrespect, controlling, all this kind of stuff. And that's why it didn't last. But in the other relationship, it was more of a ambition thing. And I really just was like trying to partner with him in the sense of like, yo, you're gonna have to do your resume. And I helped him do his resume. That was a little struggle, but then he did, and he actually got a really good job that he still has to this day. So I feel like part of and I point those two things out is because it depends on who you're working with, how that can happen, right? Like whether that person is open to change, being helped, helping themselves, and what kind of attitude they have about it. If they let it mean something about themselves and they project it onto you as if you're the one doing it to them, then that's not a recipe for success at all. I land my plane.
No, and thank you for sharing your personal stories, like really, because I think like that question is more, especially when it comes to women, it can get more detailed. It does become a pressure because you do have to deal with that that urge to provide being taken away. And it does kind of change the dynamics of the relationship. And I definitely agree with Swan. Everybody should have a damn job down to the kids. Um, things are expensive. Uh, for the most part, it's kind of like I live in New York City. It's expensive out here. And it just doesn't make sense unless you are a type of person who is looking for a certain bracket of money that your partner is making. It just doesn't like make sense for me to go into a relationship and not know that you have to like put in some type of grind, bring in some type of income, just from how expensive gas is. Like it's just crazy. But with that being said, I do appreciate everybody for participating and and implementing a piece of their lives on this live tonight. I really do appreciate it. But I'm going to open up the panel. It's going to be open conversation. If you want to say something that you didn't say before, if you want to address something that you heard, this is the time to do it. Yeah, the floor is open.
Okay. Boss 2 said it all concerning the provisions. I believe it's the duty of a man. When a man wake up one day and said, I want to settle down, you have to have it in mind that you be ready to provide. Because the Bible I read to make me to know that any man that cannot provide for his family is worse than fed. Me giving you just is just a help because Bible say I am a helpmate to you. You can't just take it upon you that if you shall eat 50-50, you bring 10, I will bring 10. No. When a woman started providing for the family, that man is worth nothing before that woman. There's no respect. Let's keep aside love. You will know that that love is no more there. When a woman started providing for the family, when the man is there, the man is nothing in that home. There's no respect from anywhere. Even the children would disrespect their father. Why? Because you're not providing. The duty of a man is to provide. The woman is just to help you. The woman is just there to help you. Not that you will share it 50-50, I will bring 10, you bring 10. No. If you do it that way, there's no respect there. You are no more the head of the family. Because when you want to settle down, you get it in your mind that you are ready to provide to the land, to the earth. Your children is there. Your wife is there. Don't be an infidel to the woman. Being a man that in the morning when other men are waking up to go to work, you are sleeping, snoring in the bed, waiting for the woman to go to work and come back and come and feed you and do all the necessary thing in the home. Still give birth to your children. No, nah. It can't work out that way. Any man that cannot provide for his family is worse than infidel. If you're not ready to provide, don't think of getting married. Because you won't go to someone's family and brought the woman to your home to come and spend all the days of her life with you, and you abandon her over there, telling her that if you don't do this, I will not do that. No, nah, it's not a game. You have made up your mind to take good care of her 100%. So you can't share anything with her 50-50. You know your duty as a man, that if you cannot provide, you are worse than infidel. So if you are not ready to take care of your family, don't think of getting married to suffer another person's children. I learn my play.
Not all nice and soft. I land my plane. Get her
Right.
purple.
Um, well, that was a lot to take in. Um, for me personally, if the partners decide, sometimes the woman in the relationship may make more. You may have to take into consideration how expensive daycare is. I personally don't have a problem with a stay-at-home dad as long as there's an agreement and it works out financially. I wouldn't see somebody less of a man if that is what the couple has decided upon works for them. Um, oh, that was a lot. um, I feel like we have all these traditional gender roles, some of them based biblically. Um, you know, I did say that I wanted to be a stay at home mom for the first 5 years, but I'm the type of person who likes to work. Now, honestly, I'm getting tired of it because I'm in Gen X and I'm like, oh, I want to retire soon. Come on, crypto. But generally speaking, I like the interaction I have outside of the home with other adults. I like having my own money, even though, it's the household money, I still like being able to not have to, you know, ask my husband for money. You know what I mean? I like having my own. So for me personally, and I would go stir crazy. Well, now that I have Bigo, I don't think I would go stir crazy, but before Bigo, I would go stir crazy. Just being in the house by myself all day, every day, that would drive me crazy. So, anyway, I'm just one of those people where I don't mind working and I don't mind switching. the traditional quote unquote roles if that's what works for a given family. Thank you.
Thank you, Purple. We're going to box 2 and then we're going to box 6.
Okay, first and foremost, a lot of people, mainly sisters, always use that scripture that the woman just brought up, talking about if you don't provide, you're worse than an infidel. It doesn't say money. First off, let's get that straight. That's why I brought that up earlier when it says providing is subjective, because you got women out there that don't need a man to provide money. So we can't say, oh, if you don't provide money, that you're not a man or you're not this, you're not that. Because again, now you're judging a man by what he brings and not by that man as a person. So we have to understand that first and foremost. So that whole point that she was making, that's not what that scripture says. You understand what I'm saying? But it's always about what that man could provide financially. A man is always like, it's a saying that says, everybody's loved unconditionally, but a man is only loved conditionally by what he can provide. Men are never loved unconditionally. We'll never get that luxury. You understand what I'm saying? And she proved that point there. Because if he ain't doing what he can't do or providing for her financially, he ain't nothing to her by what I just heard her say. You understand what I'm saying? So it just sounds crazy to me. And then you try to use that scripture to say financially when nowhere in that scripture does it say financially. Not every woman needs a man to provide financially. They may need other things and aspects to them to provide. I land there.
All right. You up, box 6.
So I was going to ask a provocative question to anybody that's been married before, or anybody that from whatever perspective you come from, whether or not you see a man as the financial provider or not. Do you guys or have you guys done the split bank account thing? Where do you guys stand on that?
Con, I'm married. If you want me to answer.
I can answer as well.
Um, you mind if Purple goes first?
No, not at all. I do want to say to Box too. I heard what you said. I don't really know this scripture well enough to counter it or agree or disagree or whatever. But I am a Black woman, and I didn't say, I'm one of the people who just said it's not about me thinking a man is less
Salaki,
of a
sis.
man
I
if he's
wasn't
not.
commenting to you.
I
If
know,
I
I
could,
know you.
oh, okay,
I
okay.
know
I
you were
just wanted you to
talking.
know that. I just
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
you to
yeah, yeah,
know that.
yeah,
Okay, all right,
yeah.
cool. I'm sorry for
I
cutting you
know
off.
that I know that you were talking to her, but I just wanted to give you an
Hey, you.
example of a Black woman who doesn't have that condition upon them. I just wanted you to know that there are some of us out here. That's all. I know you were directing it to her.
And raise the
As
roof, most high Christ. That's what's up. That's what's up.
um to Rep's question, yeah, we had separate bank accounts, but they weren't. So our main accounts weren't completely separate. He was the primary on one account, and I was the secondary, and vice versa. So we both had, access to each other's money, um, if we needed it, right? And I handled the finances. So when bills need to be paid, I'd let him know, hey, I'm going to take X amount of dollars out of your account to cover, these bills or whatever. And in our relationship, he actually preferred that I handled everything. And, if I was short for anything, I'd say, hey, I got to borrow $100. I'm going to take it out of your account, and vice versa. Um, but because I was raised by the woman I was raised by, I had other accounts everywhere. And he was aware of them. I didn't do it on the sneak, but I always had two or three other accounts, and to this day, I still have money taken out of my paycheck and put into my secondary, third tri-story and fourth, whatever the fourth one is. And it's my mad money. It's my vacation money. It's my rainy day fund. And I forget about it. So it's built up, which is coming in handy now since I got laid off. Um, but we never were like, oh, that's my money, don't touch it type of thing. But it was more like, hey, his paycheck goes there. He can do whatever he wants to do with it. My paycheck can go here. I can do whatever I want with it, as long as everything that is household related is covered.
Thank you for that, Purple. Box 10, did you want to respond as well? Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
Queen.
sure.
Hey, Tsunami.
Yeah, I actually agree with Gordon as far as what the word says, and it's very important for the ladies and men to make sure that there's some type of, how do I say this, proving, right? So as the Bible would says, you want to prove your friends, you want to prove your wife. And this proving is based upon what the word of God says is morally right and morally wrong, right? Because there's a lot of trauma outside of the Bible that we have to deal with. And certain traumas does not make sense to deal with. Like, even if you look in today's time, how just with black people in general in this country, especially if you, I'm from the United States, so black people in the United States, and I'm pretty sure around the world, how we are treated differently, right? It's not like an equilibrium type of thing. Like, we have equal jobs and equal pay, and we're dealing with a lot of specific trauma that we have to go through every specific day. And there's a lot of things that we have to prepare ourselves for. It's not an equal fighting field. It's not an equal battle. And I'm not saying it has to be, but staying outside of that trauma, right, and staying close to what God tells us to do keeps everything justified and keeps the the peace within a relationship, especially if it's something that's ordained by the words of God. And that's where I kind of stick to. Even when it comes to like a joint bank account, I don't have to worry about my wife spending money on things that I may consider um, valuable to the relationship, or it's not beneficial towards the relationship, because we are both of one mind, and we practice the same type of moral structures of what we consider right and wrong and what we want to do. So, and I don't think it's just value, like Kodam said, just based upon money, but based upon every single word that comes out of the Bible that is ordained by God. So I think the studying of that and um, keeping within those structures, from proving the right girl, proving the right man for the ladies, would make it more beneficial towards any type of relationship that you may get into. I'll land my plane there.
And if I
Yes,
could
thank you.
add real quick,
Yeah,
um, yeah, if I could add real quick, a man can make, $1 million a week and provide everything in the household, but still lead you to death by allowing you to eat unlawful foods that are not healthy for you. Um, Also, a man can provide everything that you need and want in a household, and if there's a fire that breaks out in that house, that man might just save himself and just leave you there, or you might just have to get out on your own. You know what I mean? That man might provide everything that you possibly want and need, but that man might not want to risk his life for you. So I'll land with that.
Go ahead, Purple.
Allow me to eat? See, that's why I got my own bank account.
Yo, we was on the same. You see me in the comments, okay?
That's why I got my own bank account. Because I mean, we place different values on different things, right? I think that video games are a waste of money, right? But if that's what my husband wants to spend, his money on after the bills are paid, then fine. But by the same token, if I want to buy my 17th purse, or if I want to eat a double cheeseburger, I should be allowed to. And if that's going to be a problem, that's why I have my own money. I, and I get, I don't quite, I mean, I understood your part about the house catching on fire, but I, I, I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling with it because I mean, it's like if you're in a relationship with somebody who, and this goes either way, male or female, who's going to trip you so they can get ahead of you to get out of the burning house, y'all got bigger problems and had bigger problems from the jump and shouldn't be together. And I'm not saying that, the man always has to risk his life for the woman, but in that scenario, the first person we need to be concerned about, in my opinion, is the baby. And then we go out together, period. And if for some reason we make it outside and the baby doesn't, we both going back in to get her because we're partners. We live together, die together in that scenario, in my opinion. Thank you. Well, actually, camp, I mean, but I think that's more religious based, and I understand that. But I didn't take that from him. For me, it was like, it sounded like he was saying, what I'm going to allow her to eat, not what we believe we shouldn't
No,
eat based on
Salakia,
the Bible. I
if I
mean,
could,
in that scenario, camp, you both are religious, you both follow scripture. So I could see that, but it's not for
I
me.
was speaking along the essence of what my brother was talking about as far as
Oh, okay.
providing.
Okay.
So what I was basically saying, that a man can provide all of those things and still lead you into destruction, and still will allow you to eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster, everything that is abominable to the God that both of y'all claim that y'all will serve. You know what I'm saying? And even though you thinking that you are being led by a good man because he's providing everything, he's really leading you to destruction because he's not telling you, hey, we ain't supposed to be celebrating these pagan holidays. You know what I'm saying? We ain't supposed to be doing all of that. And I think majority of those things is what really matters. You know what I'm saying? Versus, what makes a woman feels good, and providing majority of the unnecessary things that you don't need to survive. You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody say something about take me like she was ready to end the relationship because she was taken to a restaurant that she didn't like 3 times. And it's like, my God, you weren't hungry? The thought doesn't count. Maybe this is all a man can afford. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like y'all want us to provide the top notch, which is okay. You have the right to desire those things. But even so, doing that is not going to get me in the kingdom of heaven. It's not going to get you in the kingdom of heaven. And in the process, I can kill you by feeding my wife something that's unlawful, by um, you know, doing all things that are abominable in the sights of the Most High. Put it that way in our land.
Go ahead, Bow. It's on you, and then we go to purple.
So of course I have to respond to the statement about the restaurant, right? And if you needed more context, you could have just asked, because what I know I said for certain is that it has to do with like what your partner is interested in. The context that I maybe could have given you is that he was taking me out as if it was like, oh, I'm gonna take you here, right? Like one time it was for my birthday, and I know I was like, honestly, the restaurant was BBQs, right? The reason why I don't like going there is because it's like cafeteria style to me. I don't mind the food. I sometimes order from there if I'm in the mood for it, right? But it's like chicken and french fries. That's the main thing that I'm going to get from there, right? But it's very loud. It's not an intimate place to me to go out on a date with your partner. It's like plates and forks clinking and people, hey girl, I know you was gonna be up in here. What's up with your year? Y'all gonna I'm not into that. If I'm just trying to resonate with my partner in the moment and have like, it's we're here together and we able to, you can't even hardly hear. It's they busting the tables all through you. Like that's not the type of dining experience that I like. Right. So the point is, and it's not a money thing. There's plenty. I live in a neighborhood. You could get a plate for $6, a good ass home cooked style meal and you're sitting at the table and you could get it for $6. It really wasn't about the money. He could have actually went somewhere and paid less, and we would have had a more intimate experience. The point of the matter is, if I told you I don't like this, why would you bring me here 3 times? You're not paying attention. So the fact that you're like, oh my God, says to me that like you might be the type that doesn't give a fuck about what your partner is feeling or interested in. And that goes to what we were saying earlier when I gave the list of like consistency, consideration, communication. Like if I'm communicating to you, hey, I don't really like that. What's hard about that? Especially if I live in a neighborhood that has like 15,000 restaurants. I live in New York City. There's a restaurant on every corner, 2 on some blocks, 3 on some blocks. It's just not, it's no real justification. Like you're going out of your way to disappoint me at that point. I land my plane.
Sorry,
I'm
y'all.
sti- I'm still struggling with the allow part. I'm sorry. I'm like a pit bull. I can't put it down. Because in my view, if you both um are religious people and you both follow the law of scripture, there should be no allow. It should be a given. If this is what you both follow, then from jump, okay, we're not supposed to eat pork, we're not supposed to do this, we're not supposed to do that. It's I, I guess I don't understand a partnership in this scenario, because I'm looking at myself. If I'm following this particular religion and I know what is allowed and disallowed by the scripture, I'm going to follow it regardless. I don't have to be allowed or disallowed to do anything, because if this is what's supposed to be right or wrong in God's eyes, I'm already going to be doing it. I thank you.
Hey, so when I said allow, right? So you have to really understand that it's very easy to not give a damn. It's very easy, but it's hard to care for some odd reason for black people. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for a black person to actually give a damn about another black person, especially their partner. But it's very easy for us to not just really give a damn and not give a damn what you do. So what I'm saying by allow, not allowing you to eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster, because evidently, with America, it's your body, it's your choice. Y'all could do whatever the hell y'all want to do. So if I actually care about you, I'm not just going to allow you to do that. I'm going to tell you, hey, no, you ain't supposed to be eating this. I'm not going to sit there and just allow you to do that. Like if your child is running in the road and you know they're going to get hit by a car, you're not just going to look at them. You're going to scream, hey, get your ass out the fucking road. Why? Because you love your child. You don't want to see them die or to get hurt. So if I care about you and I love you, I'm going to try to stop you from doing something that's going to eventually hurt you and possibly kill you. But if I don't really care about you, then I'll just let you do whatever the hell you want to do. Because I won't say shit. I won't say nothing. I'll just let you go and fall into a pit. And Viola, you very childish. How you gonna tag me in the comments after you muted me?
Okay, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I didn't mean to tag you. I had already commented or I tapped your name. I actually didn't realize that you was in the tag. I was actually just typing in the comments, right? So that's first of all. But second of all, let me tell you something. Don't you ever call me out my name, brother. Ever. Let it not happen again.
Did I call you out your name?
Childish. I don't like childish. However, whatever you want to consider it, don't do it. I don't like that. Did I label you? Did I tell you that you were something? No, I don't like it.
I think you mispronounced her name. Her name is Balboa, by the way.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we start going left, we gonna get back on the right track. We got Camp, we
Water,
got
sir.
Purple, and then also Mashamar. Did I say that right? I'm sorry if I did it.
My you was close.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna get it together. I got you. I'm gonna get it together. Camp is on you.
Yeah, I think sometimes a lot of these conversations we should kind of see what the people like, see the spirit of what they saying. Like some of the scenarios is for an overarching point that's not actually the scenario. I definitely understood what the brother said about the house burning. And with the allow part, I know I ain't celebrated no Christmas in over 10 years, probably. But I bet you if I buy some lights in the tree, everybody in this house gonna go crazy if I allow it. If I go buy Thanksgiving turkey, we finna have Thanksgiving because I am the one that's the leader. I'm the one that actually go buy the food. So I don't allow my money to be spent on nothing unlawful. That's where the allow part come from. And it is like a parent and child situation because I'm the one that's providing. So if I want them to eat Skittles all day, I'll buy 1,000 pounds of Skittles and that's it. But that's not going to help everybody. Everybody in this household don't make as much money as I do to go buy the food. So I got to be responsible in that area and look at everyone's protection. It's funny when they say the man's supposed to be the leader. Well, most companies, organizations, sports teams, the lead person, right, just lead, right? And they'll say no, stop. Sometimes it'll be sounding a little bit rough. I know y'all been bosses at y'all jobs. You had to be a little tough to get to realize the accomplishment or the goal that y'all trying to do, to realize the assignment. But understanding with all human beings, when you're leading, if you pick apart their words or you can't understand what they saying, they actually try and do something good and you turn it to bad. That's not allowing people to lead as the way they should. The last thing I wanted to say was when y'all know about dates and Balboa, you knew where I was trying to take you when we went up last time. What's that, Keeks or Cakes or something? You know, I picks the good restaurants. But I want y'all to understand if you had to take one of us brothers out, you might miss the mark too. If you had to lead in that way. I think women is lucky to be able to sit in that passenger seat and allow the men to lead and then maybe like it or not. Because as Kadam was saying, ain't nobody offered to take me out to no damn $500 restaurant or wanted to take me nowhere to the wrong restaurant. It's just normally don't work like that. Normally the leader kind of leads. And it would be nice in a good relationship, like I got in my house, where the other people just follow. And then it works smooth. But then we got two leaders going two different directions, or one person want to do another thing, or one person want to break the laws and eat some other foods. That's when it get bad. And that's kind. I know it's kind of hard for grown adult women to say, I'm going to follow some guy and let him allow me to do stuff. I know that sounds horrible, but that's how a successful marriage works. When somebody leads, they understand the assignment, and then the other people support them in that leadership. And that's, I think, kind of what it takes, at least in my experience of being married for 10 years.
We're gonna go to purple. We're going to box 7 and Balboa.
So, both of you, both Camp and Halak, lumped the woman in with the children. He compared not allowing her to do something similar to not allowing a child to run into the streets. You talked about Skittles, and you said something else about, children. I can be led without being treated like a child. I am a fully developed adult. Fully developed adult. And if I am a woman who believes in religion like you do, I say it again, it shouldn't have to be what you allow me to eat and not allow me to eat. If I'm following the scripture the way I'm supposed to, I'm already not doing it. But I don't need to be, leading me does not mean that I am a child. It just sounds like leading. I feel like there is a way to lead properly and follow properly without being completely controlled. And the comment about her body, her choice, I don't even know where to go with that. But comparing your leadership to the leading of a child out of harm is disrespectful to women. Thank you.
Yes, on you, box 7, and we're going to Bell.
Yeah, my name is Mashima. Mashima, you was almost there. You had a good first time. I would have accepted it the first time, but uh, I'm sorry for being late, but I had a little something to do. But what I think that the brother is talking about when they lump you in with the children is because they evaluating the situation as a whole, which means everything under him is his responsibility. It wasn't to call you a child, but the woman and the child is the responsibility. So we're going to address everything while we're addressing. And I think that's more so what they were saying. It wasn't saying a woman is a child, even though compared to the man and the position that the man plays in the household, they all in the same boat. You know what I'm saying? You under the leadership and you are the responsibility of the person in charge. So that should be applauded. Like we actually have men that's willing to step up to the plate and take on the responsibility for everybody else in the house. Why is that frowned upon? He's not lumping when he lumps you in the same category as a child. That means that he's evaluating the entire family, everybody. Not saying that you are the child, but everybody is in the same boat. Like I'm taking responsibility for everybody. That's all he's saying. Um, and I see it the same way. I see it the same way. I don't put a difference. Of course, I know that you don't have to be birthed and the things that we got to deal with an adult woman different than a child. I mean, that should go without saying. You shouldn't even have to explain it. But I guess it takes a man to look at the situation like that. And that's the difference. The fact that you didn't see the difference to that and we got to come back and explain this shows the difference. You know what I'm saying? Because he's evaluating the situation as a whole and all you can focus on me. Don't talk to me like that. I'm not no child. I'm not your, hey, listen, you're not even worried. Now you see how selfless Camp was speaking, when he was speaking, he wasn't saying nothing about himself. He was talking about sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice for the greater good of everybody else. I make all the money. I gotta buy this. I gotta do this. You see how Halak was talking? He was saying, I gotta make sure you good. I gotta make sure you don't break this rule. I'm doing everything with selfless sacrifice. I'm making sure everybody good. But all the woman could think about when she spoke was, don't talk to me like that. Don't you ever. Don't, I'm not no child. Wham, wham, wham. Right now, do you understand what's being done right now? Now you see why you lumped in that group. That's all we're saying, man. That's why we say that. Take me to this place. I want the best this. Okay? Take you back to a place like when we was in school, we wanted the J's and we was dependent, totally dependent on our kids, on our parents, and we wanted what we wanted, and anything less than that, we threw a temper tantrum. Now you see where we going with this? You know what I'm saying? It's like the whole cycle. That's why you get lumped in there right there, because you're always saying, give me, give me, give me. I want a man that's like this. I want a man that's gonna give me this. I want to be in this position. I want that. I want that. So he's like, all right, man, whatever. And the man just gonna be like, all right, any man that's willing to take on the responsibility is gonna be in a position of, all right, man, whatever you want. And whatever level of um of um needs you gotta meet to the people that's under him. Like if you got a needy woman or a bunch of kids and all that, that's going to determine the level of effort he put into the relationship. But a woman that's more self-sufficient and she's willing to help out and all that will be less stressful because now she's that help me. She's the one that's standing next to him like, baby, you ain't got to do everything. I understand you kind of tired and I did ask for this right here. And I know that's not even easy to do. So I'm going to help you out. I tell you what, we ain't got to go there. Let's just cook something at home. I'm going to take some of that. That's how you make it easier. Let's work together. There's no such thing as 50-50. I'm 100% the man and you're 100% the woman. You take out your responsibilities, I do my responsibilities, kids do theirs. That's how we work together in unity without the problem and all of that. So instead of you trying to critique the way I perform my duties or me trying to, critique the way you perform your duties, let's just have each other back. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you make it right.
So, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. It is my genuine feeling that right now in this country, we are in a crisis. Some of that crisis is rooted in the power dynamic amongst men and women. The underlying current of that crisis is about respect, is about consideration, is about self-love, right? And to me, is also about power, right? But power, not just power of like who holds power, but whether you need to subjugate another person in order to feel your own personal power. And that's the part about it that I feel like sometimes it's not understood when we're having these conversations, right? That some people's lack of personal power gets expressed as control and is felt as oppression by the other person, right? And so I'm just going to go over the couple of things that stood out to me, right? And we've been going back and forth about me and this restaurant thing. So now, Camp, you said, well, I'm leading and something about the restaurant and I'm trying to take you out and but I think the part that somehow y'all are not able to process is it wasn't one time, it was 3 times. One which was on my birthday at the point that it had already been communicated multiple times that I don't like going to that restaurant. And what y'all are missing is that I'm a whole person out here that doesn't need to exist in a space where the motherfucker don't care about where I want to go for my birthday to a restaurant when we ain't have to go to the restaurant. I could take myself to the restaurant too. But somehow I'm supposed to be forced to go to the restaurant that I don't like on my birthday, or I got to go and I just got to be happy about it. And I can't say nothing about it. I can't recognize the fact that to this person, It was not important, and it wasn't worth the extra, which was not, it was literally, if I think about it right now, probably less than 100 yards away from there is a restaurant that costs less, has better food, and has the type of environment that I would have probably appreciated more on my birthday. But to y'all, why you can't just accept that that's what the brother did? He was leading, he was trying to do something. My God, that's the motherfucking problem. Because something that's happening in your sphere of personal power requires that we acquiesce even in the presence of disdain and lack of motherfucking consideration. And it's something really wrong with that. And I'm going to tell you right now, because I know the lens that y'all coming from. And Camp, you know you my brother. But it's something fucked up with that situation and your relationship with the Bible. I don't even think it's telling you to do that. It's what you're choosing to do with it. It is being used as a tool to subjugate others when it's real simple. And you get better results with honey than with vinegar, right? Which is that the man that's like, you know what? My baby would rather go to that place down the street than to this one that she already told me 3 times she does not like, and lose nothing and gain plenty. Instead of, man, this is what I'm just trying to do. Not thinking about it, you're not remembering it, you're not really caring, you didn't take time to think it out, and you spent extra money that you wasn't necessary, and now I'm looking at you sideways. And now I'm looking at you like you don't care about what my feelings are. What's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of me just sucking it up? Because that's what you think I need to be doing. You stack a bunch of those high up in your spirit, it gets to the point of, yeah, I don't want to be with you no more because fuck you. You basically saying fuck you to me with all your actions. And if you think that it was just 3 restaurant situations that got the relationship to the end, then I'm going to start questioning processing skills in this live. And I don't want to do that because I think we understand what's going on here. It wasn't about 3 restaurants. So the fact that you even needed to vocalize that is antagonistic, which goes right back to the same cycle of power dynamic that is unnecessary, that is creating a goddamn problem in this country. I forgot the other thing that I was going to say because I got so caught up in that. I land my plane.
Yeah, really quickly. One thing I wanted to say that I heard was coming up was I gotta talk about the reference of equating your wife to your child, right? Whether you see it as biblically, whether you see it as something that you actually do follow, uh, unrelated to the Bible, right? I'm pretty sure I had a question about communication within this live. And I'm pretty sure the brothers expressed certain things that they didn't like, and how even just the tone of a woman can make you feel disrespected. So, in that same regard, why can't we hear that women don't like to be equated to children? And for you to take that in as, yes, I understand that in my mind frame, I'm not trying to mean it that way, but it's coming off as disrespectful. So I would acquiesce to that, especially since, we are big on how women talk to you and the tone and the words that we use and this, that, and the third. Where is that same reciprocation when it comes on the opposite side? That's just something I'm throwing out there. Please raise your hand if you want to speak. Balboa is going back to you because she's the only one to raise her hand.
So I'm glad that you reminded me about
I
the
raised my
I
comment.
did
hand too.
raise
Can
my
I
hand a
talk
Um,
little bit
about?
earlier.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
and
I
I
just
sorry.
raised
had
my hand as well. I just want to make
I'm
sure everybody
sorry.
got the order. Like whoever
Oh, okay.
raised their hand.
Let me look back. Let me look back.
So I have
I
to
am.
I go in the
run for
meanwhile.
that phone
Oh,
call.
okay.
Wait,
But
hold on,
what I want
purple.
to
Hold on,
okay.
purple. Because box 10 did raise his hand first. It's gonna go to box 10. It's gonna go to you. It's gonna go to Camp. It's gonna go to Balboa. My bad, Balboa.
Thank you,
And,
sister. So,
and
is it
then
me? I'm
Mashaman.
sorry.
No, it's
I
on
just
you.
want
It's
to.
on you.
Because I said previously too, and I didn't get any type of response from it. How the Bible kind of clarifies that we should prove our women and we should prove our mates, right? Proving it, like, what does that actually mean? And I was speaking of moralities and things of that nature of what we consider moral. And I believe Purple was talking about religious and things of that nature. Religion, right? Opposed to what the Bible says, right? Because Christianity is religion. Judaism is religion. The practice of what is it? Like the Muslims, the Aramaic faith, the Muslim faith. Um, I'm sorry if I mispronounce the ideology of it, but what the Bible says should be something that we refer to. Sisters and Israelite panel. This is what it says in the Bible. This is chapter 3 of First Peter 1. It says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husband, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by conversations of the wives. So again, like when we don't prove and we get into these relationships, right, where it's talking about how we kind of the decorum that we have with one another, even with husband from wife to husband, if it's not directly from what the word of God says, and if we're not reflecting back to that, and we're kind of just going off of our own emotions and what we may feel, then that's where all of this trauma comes in that starts confusion. And I want to make it perfectly clear that I'm talking about the word of God in the Bible. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm not talking about Judaism. I'm talking about First Peter chapter 3, verse 1. That's exactly what it says in the Bible. So if there's anything that is a deviation from that, then let that be said outside of the Bible. But I don't want to kind of conflate things that is not, or I don't want like the message to trying to conflate things that's outside of the Bible. If you're talking about things that's outside of the Bible, let that be known. I don't want people to say religion, because religion is a very nebulous term. We don't practice the same things that Christian practice. We practice from what the Word of God actually says. So I'm gonna land my plane right there.
Okay, that's fair enough. I don't follow any religion. I believe in God and that's it. So I struggled with the terminology, the correct terminology to express what I was trying to say, and I apologize for that. Um, that said, what I really raised my hand for was um, Camp and I, disagreed on something, and we disagreed very respectfully. Left it on the table. We're goofing around in the comments. Um, that has happened a few times with me and Camp. We disagree on something fundamentally. He listens to what I have to say. I listen to what he has to say. We leave it on the table and move forward. Um, Box 7, I'm going to call you out. And unfortunately, I have to leave and take a phone call, so I won't be able to hear, undoubtedly, a nasty
Don't
response
do
from
it
you.
then.
You have been in the comments, and even with your disagreement with something I said, Um, I feel like I don't know if you are taking it personally, um, but you know, we're trying to have a mature, thoughtful discussion, and calling her crazy and the stuff that you were commenting about me way back, I just kind of ignored it. Is disingenuous. It is not how I would like to conduct this conversation. You know, I'm here. I came here to listen to what men had to say and hopefully have them listen to what I had to say. And we both walk away with a better understanding of maybe how each other thinks, what our needs are, um, hopefully to kind of start to heal our relationships with each other, especially around here in Bigo, because it gets really toxic between us on Bigo, and it doesn't have to be. So I would just ask you to bear in mind that nobody is here. Well, I'll say I won't. I'm not here to mortally insult you. I'm not here to question your existence. I'm not here to question your God. I asked legitimate questions that I didn't understand, but I did it respectfully every single time. Didn't raise my voice. I didn't call names. I didn't do any of that stuff. And Balboa didn't until she matched energy. You came out the gate with some I'm struggling, some unkind energy. I'll say it like that. Um, Moving forward, like I said, I got to run. I'll be back. If you guys are still on the panel and you want to address what I said, you're free to do that. I ask that you do that with respect, without the name calling, without the yelling and screaming, because I haven't done that to you. And hopefully we can come through with a better understanding of each other. That said, I really enjoyed the conversation. I learned a lot. I learned a lot even from the Bible. Thank you guys. And I gotta run. You guys take care.
Hey, Slocky,
Thank you for our future.
am I gonna be able to respond and see directly address me?
Well, usually I do let people respond when they directly address you like that, but being that she isn't here anymore, um
What?
you wouldn't be responding to her. You wouldn't be responding to her. She's not here. So that's what I'm saying. Usually, that's how I do things. Like I would let you respond to her, but she's not here. So if you want to wait until after she has her phone call and come back and address her, that's fine. But I don't know how you can be upset at not responding to someone who's no longer here. Like I don't know what that's about. But we're going to camp.
Okay, first I wanted to say a joke because I like to have a very special position in the Bible. It's called the keeper of the women. That's what I grew up and wanted to do. So I try to play that role because that's what I want to be. But Bob Ball, when I was talking about the date thing, of course, if the nigga taking you to the wrong spot, then you shouldn't mess with him or it's about to be over. I understand that. And I want y'all to recognize that the men do suck it up when we get the gift that we don't want or the food that we don't want or something that was given to us. We kind of suck it up even if I counted as many times as I didn't get what I anticipated or thought I deserved, I probably wouldn't be married. But I suck it up because it's a greater gift involved. What I was saying was, if you guys try to take a person out on their birthday, you might make a mistake too. They might not like where you take them. That's what I was saying. Not to just suck it up and stay with the guy because obviously he didn't stick around. But it is difficult to lead in that way. That's what I was saying. I always challenge women. You try taking the guy out. You try picking him up. You try getting his hair cut. and paying the bill and all the stuff that decent, respectable men, and you'll see, you might feel a little different than receiving that energy, giving that energy. And should be a certain respect for men that provide that energy because that takes care of the woman. Now, in these conversations too, I wish it would be like a safe space. I know y'all heard that word before. So just like the brother said the word allowed, it might be a triggering word. But if this is a safe space and we could talk regular, then you will understand what he's trying to say and don't use it in a derogatory term. This is probably why the Democrats lost the election, because they just wasn't saying the shit plain. They want to pick all the right words. Sometimes niggas don't have the right words. When Halak and I said about the child thing, we used an analogy. The same way I will provide and protect my children, I'll do the same things for my wife. Like in my mind, I have to condition my brain in order to look at it that way. When I first got married, I was a 50-50 guy. I wanted my wife to pay 50%. I wanted us to be partners. I realized ain't no goddamn partners, especially after I had my son. Ain't no partners. I got to pull this whole thing. If she can't do it, I got to do it. Now, if I'm ever down, I'm sure she would try to pull the whole thing too. But it's been working out pretty well with her playing her role, and I know I got to step up more than 50%. I'll let y'all men know that 50% thing is bullshit. You need to be 100%. My sister Kiss Happiness told me if stuff ain't being done in your house, you the one responsible, not her and not the kids, not the dog. If your house is dirty, you got to pick that up or make a system and communicate with the people that you're providing for. But she said, don't blame them. All these things, the only way, since I know it ain't 50-50, it ain't fair, I could look at it. I got to look at it. I'm the quarterback. I'm the head coach. I'm in a position that y'all not. That does create an imbalance, but I try my best not to assert my authority in a way that make people feel threatened. But you're asking men to do stuff that women and children ain't gonna do. And if you are doing it, you feel kind of out of place. Like most single women trying to take care of everything and they be tired because they supposed to have a partner there. They might supposed to even have a husband doing them things, and all they should be doing is just helping with the kids and her husband and not being the lead, because that's a very hard position. And look, I put this in the comments. I wish my father was still alive to pay for my stuff, but he's not. The Most High God is my father, and I'm his child, and I ain't got no problem being his child because he provide for me and my family. So he doing something for me, so I'm gonna be obedient, like the brother read in First Peter. So just remember, y'all, when they saying the words, it ain't trying to drag y'all nothing. And if this could be a safe space, we won't pick and choose every word, but try to see the spirit that that's a good man that want to take care of his wife and his family, unlike some of the fathers that have been in the past that did not do these things. And y'all know the guys I'm talking about. I ain't got to say no names.
Hey, sis, it's a queen. The only reason why I said that was because before the sister got off the panel, she clearly stated, yeah, so I'm gonna call you out, but I gotta go. So at that point, she should have that brother got off his mic, he was like, don't do it then. Don't do it. So that's why I'm saying that wasn't fair, because you allowed her to get her lick in and then run. That's like somebody about to fight and they throw a sneak jab and then they run and get missing, and it's nice, oh, catch me when you can. So if that was the case, then she should have just hold her peace until she come back, where it can give that brother an opportunity to respond, not for her to sneak her shot in and then run away.
I get that. I understand that. But there is no get your lick back. The brother, I saw his comments in the comment section. Nobody up here has name called anybody. Everybody has been completely respectful, and everybody was giving their opinions in a respectful manner. He did not do that. And he did not do that with her in particular. So if she wanted to address the things that he was saying in the comments, I am not in the space to tell her no. Now, if he wants to respond, right, because that's the tit for tat. He said something in the comments, she addressed him. Now, if he wants to have a conversation with the good sis, he's going to have to wait until she's here because he can't have a conversation with her without her. All I'm saying is she chose to address what he was doing in the comments. The brother is not blameless. We're not going to victimize that man. He knew the energy that he was giving off when he was giving it off. And whoever wanted to address him for the energy that he was giving was in the right to do so. I don't know what else to say about that, but like I said, the sister didn't leave the pen. She didn't leave. She's still in the comments, but she's just on a phone call. So it just doesn't make sense for him to address her. Box 2, I'm gonna go to you right after Balboa because we kind of skipped her just now.
My turn?
Yeah.
So, thing is, I'm just going to quickly address my opinion on that situation right there. It simply was not his turn. We've been doing hand raises the whole time, right? Nonetheless, she also left to go do her phone call, and it still also was not his turn. And this is the thing that I'm saying, right? Like, it's giving a level of fragility and lack of personal power when you have to be in control of things that you don't need to be in control of at all times. And mostly in regards to women. I had a statement of what I said, whatever that may have been, I got called a child. Right? Then I was being called a child in the comments. Then I was being said that this woman is crazy. In real life, I'll smack the shit out of one of y'all niggas. I don't give a fuck. And I don't care what you think about that, because I don't even care about fitting into your biblical construct of whatever the fuck you think is supposed to go. I don't care. You don't
See the
know me.
difference, Mr. Quinn?
Yo, I'm
Now
talking
that's
though. I don't
crazy.
care. I'll
You
kick you
say,
out of
yeah,
here.
but you
I will kick you
threatening
out of
people.
here. I
You
will kick you
threatening
out of
people.
here. I don't care. I'm
Hold on,
talking.
hold on.
Crazy.
What's happening? Like, everybody here wants to
Hey,
talk.
it's a
That's
Queen.
why.
Like you saying somebody is being
I'm
disrespectful, right?
talking.
But
Hold
I'm gonna kick
on,
oh
hold
him.
on.
God,
I'm
bro, this is
about to kick him.
I don't know what's happening right now, but this entire time, we've been letting people finish their sentences. I don't know what's happening right now, but the sister was clearly still talking. And if you want to address her, you could go right after your brother in box 2. You could go right after him. Pretty sure this is going to be an ongoing thing. The only thing I would just respect is for people to let everybody finish, and we could talk about the situation that happened, but please don't direct any derogatory messages to people that's not here. That's all
And the
I
people
ask.
that's not the ones either. Definitely not the people who is not the ones as well.
Go ahead, Babo. Finish up your thing.
Because we all been participating in this conversation, and we've been bringing out our ideas and our experiences of what it is. And the beginning of this started with, right? Because notice, this is not a debate. These are conversations with Issa, and it's meant to be a safe space for you talk about whatever it is that you feel about the subject. It's not built for competition, right? But instantly y'all had to find a avenue to make it one when I made a statement about my personal experience about not wanting to be somewhere on my motherfucking birthday. Oh my God. It was such an offense to you. And it's giving little boys childish, fragile. I'm confused. And you don't see the disrespect that it is. Why did it harm you for me to express that I was taken somewhere 3 times, even on my birthday, after expressing that I didn't want to be there? You were so offended by it that you had to say something, right? And then when I spoke on it, then, oh, you childish. You're a child. Then you're writing in the comments. So then now that I address it, and I'm addressing the fact that I wasn't even really talking to you, you're caping for your brother, right? But he wrote in the comments, this crazy lady. Now, see, that is what I'm talking about. That in real life, I'll smack him. And I don't care who's mad about it. Because it's a level of disrespect that's unnecessary. I'm not your woman. Wouldn't want to be. Don't care what you think about it or none of that. Right. And it just doesn't have to go there. And this is the spirit that we're talking about. Right. And I would guess this is the same type of spirit that we're talking about that exists in relationship spaces as well, where men want to categorize women along with their children. Right. Okay. Yeah, he's in charge and the children and something to be in charge of. But in real life, we know that some of the men are dealing with the women as if they're their children. I hear the conversations. I've been in those comments before. I've been on these panels before where that's exactly what you're saying. However, you want to try to boil it down right now, we know all the conversations that have been had where you're subjugating a woman to your child, right? And here's the thing, you're doing it in spaces and talking to women who would never be your child or in a position to be your woman who is your child either. And it's unnecessary. And I just think that there's growth that is really calling out to y'all in that practice. All I was trying to say is, and I didn't even get to my point because I was starting to see the disrespect in the comments. I wasn't paying attention to it before. But me personally, there's no man that will turn me on that in a relationship is treating me like a child, or thinks that I'm a child, or thinks that he needs to reign over me like a child or anything like that. Because my man is gonna tell me, oh babe, so what do you think? Like, we're gonna agree on what we eat and all this. I'm not allowing you. You ain't gonna be, and I'm telling you, no. What's that? Well, why? We grown adults. We make agreements. We are partners. All this overarching reign, and I'm gonna tell you, and I insist, and you must. Nah, that shit's corny. That shit dries it up. I land my plane.
It's actually on box two. If you want to talk box two, and then we're gonna go to box three. If anybody else, I didn't catch your hand, so please re-raise them for me.
Well, damn. All right. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I feel what sis talking about, nigga. You take me to the wrong goddamn place or the place I done expressed to you the first two times, and you still goddamn taking me there. What the fuck is we doing? Like the whole premise of what the sister was saying or what we was talking about was the whole like caring about the other counterpart. So I feel where you coming from, sis. I honestly do because it's like shit. If I got a sister that want to take me out, and I tell her the first time we get there, I don't like this place. You know what I'm saying? Yo, chill out. Then we go there again. It's like, all right, maybe you didn't hear the fuck I said. But nigga, we go there a third time. Like, bro, what the fuck are we doing? Like that. I don't know.
Blossom, you
Hello.
off mute? On mute? I'm sorry. Give me one second.
But so yeah, like well, that's crazy to me. I ain't gonna lie, like that shit is crazy. If we supposed to be as working as a team and trying to make one happy and satisfying each other, I definitely feel where the sister coming from. Like that whole three times is like really two times is it for me. You know what I mean? But I mean we know as far as what we believe in, we can't lead a woman. We can't just say fuck her, but nigga, we gotta sit down and talk and evaluate our values in each other because if it's like you're trying to make me happy. And sis, I need to know where that goddamn place is. You talking about $6 for a plate. Word up. You know what I mean? But nah, for real, for real. As far as that, that's crazy to me. Like, I don't think that was a genuine gesture. If the man knew the first two times not to take her there and he still fucking took her there the third time, it's to the point like you really don't give a fuck. And it's like, again, what are we doing as a whole? Like, you know what I mean? So I'll land my plane there. That's all I want to say.
Halak, I'm gonna go to you, and then Babo, if I could squeeze in something really quickly before you go, and then we're gonna go to you.
Yeah, so along the lines of going to the restaurant three times or whatever, along those premises, I can understand it could be a little emotional and a little touchy on that subject because it's pertaining her. But my rebuttals wasn't to insult the sister at that moment when I spoke on it. It was to make a point. which was that when we was talking about men providing, and that the one sister in box 4, when she was speaking on a man is supposed to provide, do this, do that, and that, and this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, yeah, a man can provide. Hell, the man took this woman to the restaurant three times. She didn't even want to be. She didn't like the place. You know what I'm saying? But he still was providing. He still was putting food there in her stomach. You know what I'm saying? They were still having quality time. You know what I'm saying? He's still spending money. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is along those lines of, him providing and doing all of those things, that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, um, I will risk my life for you, or, I want to have children with you. I want to build a future for you. A lot of men can do. He might provide this because he have an alternative motive. He might be wanting to hit, or he might just need some. Like y'all always saying, damn, niggas need have mommy issues or whatever. Maybe he just like your company. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what the hell his alternative motive will be? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, a real man, he wants to provide for his family and shit like that and take care of his family. A real man will risk his life for his family, and there's other means of being a leader and a provider other than your finances. And when a woman is basically saying that, leading off with that, that leads me to question to ask her or them type women, suppose a man was to fall on short terms and he can't provide. Suppose he lose his legs or something like that. Now what happens? Are you going to leave the relationship now?
Um, okay, so first I want to just say really quickly that I understand where where you're going with your opinion. And I understand that, you're at the he's giving her something part, right? Which is cool. But when it comes down to understanding your partner, understanding who you're with, that's important. The reason why I asked the question, I don't know if y'all realize the order of the questions were very important to me. I purposely spoke about value. I purposely spoke about communication. I purposely spoke about how you receive information. I put all of those things back to back to back on purpose for just for a situation just like Balboa. Because a lot of you said that you feel value with feeling heard, with feeling understood, by feeling appreciated. You can't appreciate somebody, you can't understand somebody, and you damn sure can't value somebody if you're not listening to that person. And if you're not making accommodations for how they feel. That's more than just providing. I know we all seen parents out there that's done the bare minimum for their child. They made sure they had clothes on their back and they made sure they had food on the table. But actually pouring into your children is something different. Understanding your children is something different. Getting to know your children are something different. And that's why I pose the questions the way I pose the questions. But Camp, I'm gonna go to you and then we're going to Balboa.
Wow, I'm glad you said safe space. That's supposed to mean if you kind of say something fucked up, people kind of understand what she's saying. Um, what I'm trying to think the point I raised my hand about. I wanted to ask have like a kind of a back and forth with a female just asking questions like if you were in a man's shoes, how would you react? Or if you ever bought your man a present, he ain't like it. He probably smiled and said, "Yeah, I like it," but really did not like it. You see what I'm saying? That's sometimes the approach I had to take in real life. And I understood what the brother, Halak was saying about, the thought that counts and stuff like that. But I will hope that in these conversations, that was some whole other guy that messed up. And he's not on the panel, nor is he in a relationship, so he paid the penalty. This is not a over outlook on men, because you can ask some of these brothers, they know exactly where to go and exactly how to listen. And this level of intentional listening and doing, I want the women to understand this and speak directly to them. I'm sure y'all been with guys that wanted to have sex and you ain't want to have sex with him. And he wanted to do this and you ain't want to do it. Not just sex, but something else as well. And that he had to deal with that. And sometimes my main point from asking if you took a guy out, that all of us don't hit the mark every time. We mess up sometime. It is a level of grace there. When you be in a relationship for years, the person may make the same mistake a couple times. And it is a level of grace. I'm not taking away from what you were saying, Balboa, at all, because of course you make enough mistakes, you out of here. The thing I was thinking about, and it just came back to me, was about the way we did not say that women are children. Okay, to get that out the way. But when I'm looking at relationships, when I have relationships with my brothers, if me and the brothers in the top two boxes, we all live together, if they short on their rent, I will pay their rent, but they ass gotta pay me back. If my wife, she don't even gotta have no rent. That it's a different type of relationship that we look at and treatment. I would never treat them brothers as a wife. You see what I'm saying? They would be a partner. And I wanted to hear what y'all had to say about the partnership 50-50. Because a lot of, especially these brothers here, they don't see 50-50. They see, I would do 100%. My wife's feet shouldn't have to touch the ground. I'll try to provide everything to make her life easier, which is a different relationship than a partnership. You see what I'm saying? It's not about authority, but it is about respect and wanting to be heard and all that type of stuff too. And in y'all households, as y'all pay the bills, you want your voice to definitely be heard, because none of that stuff would be going on without you. Like, you're the engine of your house. So you need the stuff that you need in order to keep doing what you got to do. But I need y'all to think about that. When men have relationships with other men, like as brothers living together, they don't treat them the same. When we have a child or a wife, then we cover for you. If you don't have, and most of the time we don't ask. And that's why I said I had to develop to become the point to understand, and just to say I have to look at it as like she is my child. Because my kid, I pay for them for ice cream. If I went to the store with Kadam, he pays for his own ice cream. And I wish, and just me being selfish, what if I had somebody that was paying out for me like that, that paid my rent, got my car fixed, got my hair cut? Some women would say I was less than a man. But just notice what y'all putting on us brothers. And if you're going to put us in that position, go for it. Oh, and that was the other thing. Me and Purple was joking about my wife calling me daddy. And that's the back and forth I wanted to have. You know, when your woman come up to you and say, daddy, she's about to ask you for something. Now, you don't want us to look at it like a child, but I already know this role coming because my 16 and 18-year-old do the same thing. And you never would hear me or any other brothers that's respectable go to their wife and say, mommy, and be about to ask for something. I wonder what y'all think about that when a woman call a man daddy because she's about to ask him to do something for her. And that is the part that we're saying at the mindset, not saying that you're not the age that you are or that you some type of child. But when you hear that daddy thing, you know you gotta, put the man suit on. And what do y'all think about that? Should women do that? Should they not do that? Do you guys do that? I'm gonna land it.
It's on you, Balboa. You could say what you was going to say, and then if you want, you can go ahead and answer Cam's question.
So I put reminders in the comments for myself. The first one is value, right? And I was glad, Issa, when you spoke, that you touched on the framework of your questions, because I was paying attention, right? But I don't think some other people were paying attention, which is why it ended up in the conflict that it ended up in. Because if we was all paying attention, we would know that the question was, what was my method of feeling valued? And I could have chose anything. I could have chose walk me outside on a nightly basis and point the constellations out. That's how I feel valued. So this is where it becomes wild when I say the thing that makes me feel unvalued is you're not paying attention. For instance, I told you 3 times I don't want to go to the restaurant, and you took me on my birthday anyway. The 3rd time, and somehow you feel entitled to tell me how I can feel valued. What makes me feel valued, you feel like you have a stake in that. And that's weird. And it's different to be like, well, I don't think I would feel valued. I don't think that would matter to me value wise. Or I don't think my woman would feel that would make, her feel valued. I don't think she would care whether that was the value system. And something entirely different to be all, as much as y'all like to tell us we're the emotional ones. Oh my God, man, what? All this is going on over what I want to feel valued about. And then you wonder why it gets into conflict. Then when I address it, then I'm a child. And then I'm a crazy lady and all this other nonsense. Right now, the other thing that I left out, that I definitely wanted to address, and he's not here, you could bring the message back to him because I don't really care about that, whether somebody was here and all that other nonsense. You said it on a public panel. I'm going to address it when I'm going to address it, whether you left because you was in your feelings or not. Point of the matter is that comment talking about, oh, what's going on between you and Camp? Oh, y'all must have something going on. That's so immature, right? But then when somebody responds, it's like, what's wrong with them, especially when it's a woman? And I'm just pointing out another method of unnecessary communication that's rooted in assumptions. Because of what? Like, what exactly happened? The only thing I said was that, and I actually said, that's my brother. Camp is my day one on this app. I could tell you the story of the day that I met Camp because Huggy was like, yeah, y'all, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get these precepts out and Chief Priest is coming. I ain't never heard nobody reference as being Chief Priest. So that automatically gets your ears perking. They got a Chief Priest? Hold on a second. What's a Chief Priest? And I was like, I'm gonna sit on this panel. I need to find out what a chief priest look like. Okay. So
That's
then,
7.
boom, Camp,
Thank you.
right? And so, and this is when I just first started on the app, and we've been building ever since. Me and Camp don't argue about shit. We talk. I know Camp's wife. That's my sister. I fuck with her the long way. So to start trying to instigate a whole thing, and then it just brings me back to like, so where's your mentality? And that's what brought me to the statement that I made, which is that in this country, we have a crisis of gender going on right now. And it is developing in a way that is extremely toxic. I saw a young lady who was in college right now, college age, and there are white men on her campus, right? And we could go into the race thing, but this is not just a race thing because I'm seeing black men. I'm arguing with Latino men on my Facebook profile for these same type of ideologies, right? Walking around the campus with signs that say these things are property and women is one of the things on the board, along with other assets. Okay, pets, I think they had on there, and it's like a list. There's a crisis of gender happening right now, and there's people who do not feel personal power, and they're using this argument as a conduit to validate themselves and feel empowered. And it is not sexy. It's not attractive. It's not appealing. To me, it does not make anybody marriage material, relationship material. I don't even want to date y'all for that matter. And I'm not talking about anybody here. I'm just talking about as far as men that fit into those brackets. And so all I'm saying is that the spirit, right, which should be the real root of all these things, even when you're talking about the Bible, I hope when you're talking about that Bible, and I hope when you're talking about the precepts, and I hope when you're talking about God, that you're talking about the spirit as well, right? And I'm talking to the spirit that's rooted in a need to be in control, in power over another human being, even those that are not associated with you, who are not your women, who really are strangers to you, on a panel, for instance, it's a problem. And it's just be too much disrespect being thrown around. But then when I get out of my body and tell somebody I will smack them, because I will, now I'm wrong. But it's not being addressed, all the level of disrespect that was ensued just because I had an opinion on what my value is. I
Hey,
land my
so real
plane.
quick, I want to apologize to you if you feel as though like I disrespected you or whatever, or I was coming off disrespectful. Maybe I need to take some time and reflect on how I use my words a little bit better, right? Because the point that I was trying to make, you clearly missed it. And just so you know, I'm not saying that dude taking you to that restaurant 3 times that he was right. I'm not saying that at all. You know what I'm saying? What I was actually saying was from the beginning that if a man can provide, he can do all kind of things, but if he really loved you or care about you or have your best interest, he would have listened to you when you told him that you ain't want to go there, like you ain't like that place. He would have never took you there 3 times. So evidently, he didn't have your best interest. He didn't really give a fuck because he wasn't listening. He didn't hear you. But yeah, he was providing that meal though. You know what I'm saying? He was providing that meal, but he didn't give a damn because whatever his alternative motive was, or however you made him feel, or he just didn't give a fuck. And then another thing, right, that I want to respond on, and I'm gonna leave it alone, is when I called you childish. When I said the word childish, I wasn't saying that in reference or in regards to your situation. I was saying that because I was talking to somebody in the chat and I put nothing. That was my response. Nothing. And right after I put nothing, you muted me. Bola, I don't know how to say your name. I don't want to mess it up. But you muted me. And then you clicked on the chat and you responded back to me in the chat after you muted me. So that's when I came off my mic and was like, don't be childish like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, you ain't had to mute me in the chat because I didn't really disrespect you or nothing. All I said was nothing. And then you muted me in the chat. And then I said, damn, don't be childish like that. But I wasn't referring to the situation that you was talking about that being childish. I land.
Rev, would you mind if I let Balboa respond to the good brother? Because I'm about to close this up, but I do feel like we're coming to a resolve. And then we could go to Rev, we could go to you, we could go to Camp.
Yeah, fine.
I'll be
Yes.
quick. I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you for your apology. Most of what I said wasn't targeted towards you because your what you said was the smallest part of what took place. Really, Mashamar, which this is not the first time that I've had an interaction with him that was salty as hell, and I'm just not here for it, right? Um, but I'm glad that you brought up what happened in the comments because what happened in the comments is Midnight, who I know very well. You see the way he thinks he could talk to me in these comments, right? And I think I muted him. He probably came back on another page. But I know who Midnight is. So I was talking, I was in the middle of my statement, right? And he said, what is she talking about? And you said, nothing. And I muted you. And I'll do it again. Just saying.
Right. And I was just basically saying, like, see, the thing about it is, like, I can say that, I can say nothing, right? And I can get muted, right? But you can literally, with a disagreement or however you feel with your emotions, you can say that you will smack somebody, right? Or whatever. And it's not that goes unnoticed. Like, that's absolutely positively right in your eyes when I can disagree and I'm not going to call a woman a bitch. I'm not going to say, damn, you sound like a hoe. I'm not going to say, damn, you know what I'm saying? you sound like a bitter bitch or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I haven't done that. You know what I'm saying? And no male has done that. But when you feel some type of way, now it comes like you could have even threw an insult back, but your response wasn't even an insult. It was a threat. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not right. You know what I mean? Because nobody like really threaten you. You know what I mean? And once again, this is a social media platform. Everybody does have to be respected, and no disrespect that should be tolerated. But once again, this is social media. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't expect for everybody to be the same or speak the same way. I'm not just only referring to my brother or you. I'm just saying, just in general, you might come across somebody tomorrow that may not, show you the respect that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, all I said was nothing, and I got muted. But you threatening people, and you don't get muted or kicked, and that is a problem.
So check this out. I don't think it's lost on anybody in this room that what you were saying is that what I was saying was nothing. And I'm an admin in this room. So if I feel antagonized by your statements, whether it's verbally or in the comments, I'm an admin in this room. You got to weigh that out, how that works for you. I didn't like it and I muted you and I stand on what I said. I will do it again. That being said, it's just a response to the overarching disrespect, right? Y'all brought antagonism to the room with those activities, including you saying, what's she talking about? Nothing, right? Like you want to make it like, oh, I wasn't really doing nothing. All I said was nothing. Boy, stop playing with me. It's a gaslight. We understand what's happening here, right? And where your brother is concerned, what you're leaving out when you're saying that I said I will smack somebody is all the other attacks that took place, being called childish, both verbally and in the comments, right? And you know how I know what the transactions was that took place? It's because I was on the mute button for Mashamar because he was going off in the comments. I didn't even see that he was disrespecting Purple before that. I might have muted him way before then, or I might have kicked him if I would have caught him disrespecting Purple in the comments. Purple addressed it when she spoke before I could address it. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to mute him. I'm not going to kick him. I'm going to give him grace and I'm going to speak to it. And then Purple spoke to it first. And before anything could be sorted out, he got in his feelings because he couldn't address her just because she left. She had to go. She had a phone call that she had to do. And it's like, we don't even need to go into the immaturity. I view it as immature. The girl had to go. It's just that simple. It wasn't an attack on nobody. And it's not your turn. Be a man about that, right? But what you're trying to frame it as I just went off the rails and said I'm gonna smack somebody, but you're not including how many levels of disrespect and grace that was given before it got to that point, including not just that I'm a child and I'm a crazy lady, but also that I must have something going on with camp. And that's really the crux of I'll smack the shit out of you because I will. So I said that. And I'll do it again. Well, however you feel about that, that's for you to sort out. However you think you want to rank it on the system of how wrong that is or whatever, I don't really care. I said what I said.
And with that being said, we are going to go to rep. We are going to go to camp. And then I am closing out this live. We've been here for about 3.5 hours and it's been a long one.
So I had something to say, but at this point, I just want to say thank you all for coming out. We love you. Good night. I'm tired.
Appreciate you. Go ahead, Kim.
That's that good Russell Simmons. I think that. But Bob Boy, I've been trying to take you out. Y'all know I try. Say, I
Nah, we're
just like
not
with my
doing
friends.
that.
With my friends.
You be
Now,
getting me in trouble. You be getting me in trouble because people like, oh, he cheating on wisdom with Balboa.
And Baba doing that, and that's what they're doing. I know that's what they're doing in their head. I know it. I just know it. And they don't
But
know
all my
you said that you leave out that wisdom was gonna be there. Like, what's up with that?
y'all left that out. I conveniently left that out. Look, I tried to hook up with Black Swan. I hooked up with a couple brothers on here. I didn't have brothers come to my house, but I always with my friends. And I think that's that part that husbandry thing. That if I really appreciate a person, I want to take a person out and have a good time. Just show them that I appreciate them, male or woman. And that's all that was probably about. But yeah, they did take it too far. I would try to tell the brothers to have tougher skin and understand that when everything is said, it don't need to be responded to. And that's the best way. You think I respond to everything wisdom say to me? I'm smart enough to know when to shut the up. Okay.
No doubt, Camp. No doubt. Your Camp, I got a question for you. Actually, I wish
Uh,
your brothers were here to answer it, but I got skipped a couple times, but it's all good. Um, Number one, I know that you didn't get an answer to your question because you had asked, what happens when you got to put the cape on, and and your woman saying, "Daddy, is that right that people do that to you?" It's a dangerous one because not a lot of men like to admit that we do got that sweet spot, but when a woman comes up to you, and and is in her feminine, basically trying to get motivate you to do something. That, or if you're married, the daddy do list or what have you.
hmm
But I wanted to ask you a question though. Well, just basically to anybody that was here, but you're the only one now here now. Um, I get the nuance of the conversation that we're coming from definitely two different ideologies and perspectives of looking at it. All right. But I wanted to ask you specifically, with the approach that you guys take in, I understand that it's from a biblical reference, but how do you guys address the what if scenario of not letting your woman's feet touch the floor so that she doesn't have to worry about anything? Doesn't that potentially seem like it may be setting her up or pigeonholing her for reaching her fullest potential? Because what happens in a scenario when, in a worst case scenario, you become terminally ill or handicapped and you can't be the sole provider and you've kept her out of the workplace, not her letting her feet touch the floor, and now she's thrust into the position of having to step into the role of the provider overnight potentially. What about the and I'm asking it as an open-ended question from a have you considered this as because it can happen. What is the perspective from your side of the fence with regards to you know having a real partner capable of picking up the reins where you left off in a worst case scenario like that?
I want to say two things. One, the Proverbs 31 with the virtuous woman, and you were saying I prove her that you know that she's a virtuous woman. It say that she's willing to work with her hand. She'll consider the field and buy it. So she done proved those things before you put her in a position where feet don't touch the ground. But I recognize the only way feet don't touch the ground is because you got to have help. Other adults. I'm trying to get my wife to get this concept. They used to call it servants and handmaids. My wife don't like that idea, or a second wife. Because if you had a second wife, there's some duties from her automatically go away because you'll have the other person doing it. But it would be a more of a village situation. So even if I got terminally ill, we still have the people in the village that was in position to help out. That's the only way an adult woman that's in a house feet could not go outside and touch the ground because there's other people doing it, and they're happy to do it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the type of
Yeah.
life I want to kind of set up. I know I can't do everything. My wife feet got to touch the ground, but if we had more help, she would be able to do less and maybe take care of herself even more. That's how we approach that.
You can go, Val.
Bible, I'm gonna let you respond really quickly, and then I'm really closing out this live. I gotta get up and go to work in the morning. But if you
Real
want to, I
quick,
can pass it to you, huh?
yeah, you can talk to me. Karen, the question I want for you real quick is: have you and Wisdom seen *Handmaid's Tale*?
What'd you say?
Have you and Wisdom watched *Handmaid's Tale*?
No, I didn't never heard of that show.
Okay, I'm gonna need y'all to take a look, and if you like it, you can stay for a long time because it's got 5 seasons. But I feel like this is where they're trying to push the country, and it's from a biblical perspective. So I'm curious to know your perspective on it.
It's a really good show though, but it's definitely undercurrent happening in the country that's related to that with the whole Christian nationalism thing.
Yeah, we gotta take this to your panel because right now I call myself Jeffrey. Like when I bring her in the middle of my meetings, bring her food or do stuff, I call her Jeffrey and I call her Mrs. Porter because I'm the butler. I'm the man.
Okay, okay, so I'm gonna pass this live over to Balboa. I'm definitely gonna meet y'all over there and fall asleep on her panel. Um, she know the routine. She know the routine. But again, thank y'all for coming to another conversations with Issa. I hope y'all enjoyed yourself. We did really good. I think that the answers that we had was amazing. Please, please, please subscribe to the Duel of Concepts on YouTube. That's a Mind and Reps channel. You'll find this and all of our previous content that we have up there. Thank y'all again, and y'all have a good night.
That's what it is.
Appreciate y'all.
You
We
don't
see
like
you in
to
like 2
subscribe, I'm
minutes.
choking you out.